All right. It is Friday, and you know what that means. It is another episode of the Xbox 2 podcast. I'm one of your hosts. Some would say the interviewer, Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, and my co-host or my guest every single week on this episode of the Jezcast, as some call it, as Dealer Gaming would have you believe in his videos. Yeah, we got another episode on what is this, like 5 Fridays in a row? We're killing it, Jez. We're absolutely killing it.
We're on a roll, baby. We're on a roll. How are you doing, man? You had a good week. It's been eventful. Do you remember we had a few weeks where it was pretty dry and there was nothing to talk about. I suppose it's usually like that, like February to March, right? We talked about Elden Ring like 3-4 weeks in a row.
Yeah, people hated that. After the first week, people were like, "Stop talking about stupid Elden Ring."
There's nothing to talk about, but now we're getting into the E3 season now. So there's things coming out, slipping out the woodworks, narratives being framed, and info's being dropped, and games being announced left, right, and center, and it's starting to get interesting. I'm starting to feel it. Starting to feel the E3 vibes, man. Even though like it's not really E3, but it's still E3 in my heart, in my soul, and my bosom. My bosom, Rand. My bosom.
You know, we got a birthday boy in chat.
Oh, snap. Who's that?
The one and only Pong Soul. His birthday today. And he says this is the best birthday present ever, with the Xbox 2 being live on his born day. So happy birthday to the one and only Pong Soul. So
how old is Pong Soul?
Pong Soul, I mean, he's been around since the dawn of gaming, so God, probably like 55, 62, something around in those age.
And so he's your age.
No, he's a bit older than me, and like usually every single day you can find him podcasting on somebody's channel. You know, whether it's Boomstick's channel or Mav's channel or, whoever else. Every single day that ends in a Y, you can see Pong Soul podcasting.
Pong Soul's a cool dude, and he's always here supporting us and dropping the ban hammer on those trolls in chat. So shout out to Pong and happy birthday, buddy.
Yes. So how's your week been?
It's been good. Man. Dropping some exclusive infos yesterday.
That was interesting.
Starting to get in those embargoes. A few tasty embargoes I can't talk about. Starting to roll in. And I flew back to the UK on Tuesday, so that was fun, painless.
Yes, and you didn't know what time it was. Like, Jez literally DM'd me. He's like, "When are we starting the podcast?" I'm like, 2 hours from now. And he's like, "Wait, that's impossible because I'm an hour ahead, but we're starting it later than normal." And I'm like, "Did you not set your clocks back?" And he didn't. He didn't set his clock back on his PC. So, because what were you doing? You were watching. You're watching. Obi-Wan and Boba Fett show with your brother before the show?
Yeah. I was catching up on the some of the Star Wars TV shows. I watched the new episodes of Obi-Wan. I thought it was good, but you were kind of down.
Well,
on it,
you know what? I don't really want to talk about that because I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it yet. It's only the first 2 episodes, and it just came out last night. There's no, I know a lot of people are sensitive to spoilers.
Yeah,
so
we won't I thought it was very good. I thought it was good.
I thought it was good, but not as good as I was hoping it would be. I thought there was a lot of questionable decisions, a lot of bad acting, and bad dialogue, and bad cinematography. Yes.
Some people are saying that my volume's low. I don't know if you want to check the levels just
your
quickly.
Volume is like
checking the levels compared to you. Can you see the levels going up and down on Streamlabs or anything?
Your levels just really spiked all of a sudden. Like,
yeah, I turned up my mic a bit.
No, turn it back. Turn it back down to what you're at.
Turn it back down.
You were like at the same level I was at. I had to turn you down.
Testing. Oh, sorry. Okay, I've turned it down now. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, because I've gone back to England, so like I got a different mic setup. Yeah, everyone's saying it's too loud.
Yes. As soon as you
I've
turned
really
it
fucked
up,
on
I
all
was
of
just
them.
like, wait a minute, that is way too loud. So
Yeah, okay, sorry about that.
I mean, you're coming in at the same level I'm coming in at on OBS. So
Okay, I'll edit this out from the Spotify so we don't deafen anyone who's
yeah,
driving
you
their
should
car or something.
turn your mic down more because
Turn it down even more.
it just spiked.
Okay.
It just spiked. It's hold on, professional
Uh,
podcast here.
yeah, professional podcast. Well, I don't know. Someone said it's okay now. I don't know. Is that okay now?
Turn it down a little bit more.
Turn it down a bit more. Okay. That's it's like at the lowest now.
Okay, it should
Is
be
that
fine.
okay?
What are people in chat saying? Because I have you. I mean,
It's sounding better turned up. Someone's. Oh dear, Rand.
what did
Maybe
you
I
do?
could just like. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. How's that now? Sounds fine to me. Michael said. No, it's too low now. Both are low. It's
both
fine
are
now.
low.
I don't know. If both of us are low, maybe just turn up your PC. But
I mean, I don't know.
right.
Like I have them at like the same settings I've been having them at like forever, and I haven't really changed anything on my end. Hold on, me. Stupid podcast. Stupid OBS and Jez moving countries. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at what my levels at. No, my levels are at the same. They're always at.
Can you see the graph?
Yeah.
Like the. Okay.
No, I can see exactly where you're spiking, exactly where I'm spiking, and it's at the same spot.
Okay. Well, let's just leave it at that then. And I suppose as long as we're the same volume, people can turn up if they need to and stuff like that. But yeah, just leave it. Everyone said. Okay. We'll persevere, I guess.
I guess we will. Yeah. What were we even talking about?
We're talking about not spoiling.
Oh yeah, not spoiling the Obi-Wan show.
Yes. So let's not talk about that. But let's talk about video games. Okay. That's what we're all here for, right?
Yes. Have you? You made some post about. I don't even know how to say this game correctly. Eiyuden Chronicles.
Eiyuden Chronicles. Yeah, I completed it a few days ago. Man, we haven't done this segment for a while. What have we been playing? Because I don't know. For so long, it was just what have you been playing? Elden Ring.
Yeah,
okay, good. That's it. But I've been playing a load of games the last week or so. I've completed Eiyuden Chronicles. I probably pronounced it wrong, but let's just go with that. Eiyuden Chronicle Rising, it's called. And this game is strange because it's like it was just a Kickstarter reward. It's like it's not even like meant to be a main game. It's like a prequel beefy demo for Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, which is based on Suikoden, which is like a classic JRPG that I never played. But the devs of that are making this. They kickstarted this new franchise, and yeah, I was just kind of like, I really thought the art style was interesting because it's 3D on 2D, like kind of like Octopath Traveler, but it's side-scrolling action RPG combat. And I played the whole game through xCloud. It's the first time I played a game completely through xCloud, which was kind of like the remarkable sort of thing about it for me. Was that it finally feels like xCloud is viable to be the main method of some games I play. I still don't think I'll use it for 3D games because the video algorithm kind of struggles to keep up when I'm spinning the camera around. But fixed camera perspective games like, Minecraft Dungeons or Diablo or a side scroller like, I don't know, Streets of Rage or Ori, it works really well. And yeah, so Eiyuden Chronicle is a really, really fun game. It's lighthearted, it's pretty simple, and it's very easy, but I was kind of in the mood for something like that. Something simple, something easy. And the combat was just so good. It just felt so damn good. Combos and air juggling and stuff like that. Really, really cool game. And I've also been playing EVE Online. It's a
EVE
resource
Online.
between. Yeah, EVE Online, like in Hearthstone. So I'm basically just playing like loads of old games, except for Euden Chronicle, I guess. But EVE Online is a space RPG, MMO thing. Spreadsheets in space, they call it. And one of the big features they announced at their EVE Online showcase was Microsoft Excel integration.
I did see that. That was funny.
Yeah, it was just hilarious. Because it is like loads of spreadsheets and commerce and all sorts of weird stuff in that game. But it's an interesting game. But yeah, have you been playing anything, Rand?
I downloaded Sniper Elite 5. I'm gonna play that.
Oh, that's on Game Pass too, right?
Indeed. I played pretty much all the Sniper Elites, including most of the Zombie Army games. I think Rebellion's a pretty good developer, so I'm probably gonna play.
I feel like
the problem is, like, I don't know. You look at like Sniper Elite 5, and it's like, bro, I played 2, 3, and 4. It's like more of the same. So I wasn't too excited to check it out, but then the people that I knew that were playing it were like, no, it's actually like quite good, and there's a lot of comparisons to Hitman, which is a franchise I love. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna download it. I'm gonna check it out because, like, I don't know, right now there's just not really interested in anything releasing. Really, I'm just kind of waiting for God of War to come out, or Saints Row, or the new Cuphead DLC or something, you know. Or whatever game's coming out at the end of the year, like the Callisto Protocol and, you know, stuff like that. I don't know, just there's just, I don't know. I just kind of looking and just like, not anything I really want to play at this moment in time, unfortunately. Now that Euden Chronicles, you were telling me at the very beginning when you were playing it that it was quite boring, but then you must have plowed through it and enjoyed it because you finished it. Was the beginning a little slow?
Well, at first, I was kind of like, because the premise of the game is you kind of like building up a town, right? Like you start off in the town and it's like all broken and crappy and you know, basically rubble. And the people are sort of depressed and stuff. And you sort of show up as an adventurer, and the whole idea is that you build up the town. To build up the town, it's just mountains of fetch quests. Basically, you go here and click on this and then bring it back to someone. Now, at first, I was like, oh man, I can't be bothered with this busy work. But I found out that like there's a load of shortcuts to doing the busy work quicker. So you could just sort of basically just teleport around to do the busy work. And you don't even really need to do it. You can kind of just skip the busy work. It just sort of adds some extra context and some fun dialogue and stuff like that. But I got this thing with side quests, man. I just feel like I have to do them. I just feel like, man, what if I miss something?
I feel the same way. The same exact way. It's like I cannot miss a side quest. Like I have to go do it. And I'm always the person who always explores in every direction that's not the main direction. You know, in like Dead Space where you could like press in the right stick and it would show you the direction you had to go in the progressive story. I always made sure that I was like, all right, which way do I need to go? Let me make sure I'm going the opposite direction every single time first, because I want to explore as much as possible before I go actually continue on with the main story. So
yeah, man, I think that's part of why I got burned out on Elden Ring, because I was trying to do like I was trying to make sure I went through every single nook and cranny before I moved on to the next area. And then I ended up, because I did so much of the side quest, I ended up like totally overpowered. And then I started going to bosses, and it was just super trivial. I like two-shot them and shit, and I was like, oh man, I kind of screwed this up a little bit. And then I just thought I'll have a break and come back some other time, and I just never did. But I'll go back to it eventually. But yeah, Eiyuden Chronicles like that. It's just tons of side quests, and but they're light-hearted and very easy to do, and oftentimes they throw you back into the game's areas to do combat or go and fight a mini boss and stuff like that, or a higher level version of an existing mob. But the combat is just so infectious and so fun that I didn't mind doing the side quests or the busy work. So I ended up just doing the lot. And at the end you unlock like a hard mode, which adds like even harder versions of existing monsters you've killed, and in sort of like almost typical Japanese RPG fashion, you know. So I'm really excited for, because this is supposed to be a mini game, but I put 15 hours into it. Even though it's like only 5 areas, and you just do the same thing over and over again.
You know what? I'm happy that you're not playing World of Warcraft anymore or Hearthstone. So, thank you, these games are getting you out of those games,
Well, I did just claim this month's Hearthstone pack on Prime Gaming.
Oh Jesus!
You get free pack. You get 3 packs on Prime Gaming.
How much money? Really cool, anyway. Honest question. How much money have you spent on Hearthstone right now?
Can we not talk about this?
Okay, you don't want to talk about it. Okay. All right.
I honestly haven't spent that much. I bought one of the expansion packs, which is like $20, I think. And then I bought like a bunch of
just want to make sure, because I have friends who have spent mountains of money. One of my buddies was very, very, very much into Genshin Impact, and their waifus, and he spent a lot of money on that. And another one of my friends, he doesn't play it anymore, but he spent multiple thousands of dollars on Neverwinter Nights. I believe the MMO is called Neverwinter, right?
Yeah, Neverwinter.
Yeah. So I have friends that seem to be susceptible. Okay, now I can't talk. Susceptible. Success. Say the word for me, Jez, because I can't. Hey, it happens. There's a combination of words when you put them together that I cannot say. And this is one of the reasons why I was in speech therapy as a kid for like a few grades. And, there's words like shoulder or soldier, successible. I can't even say. I'm thinking of the word. I can't even pronounce it. That's how bad it is.
Susceptible.
Yes. I literally can't. I don't know.
That's fine.
Either way. But okay. You know what I'm talking about. So.
Yes, I know you too.
Yes, I have friends that are very that fall prey to those things. I guess is a better word.
A few years ago, quite a long time, maybe like 8 years ago, I added up all the money that I'd spent in World of Warcraft, like including the subscriptions, the expansions, the in-game services like race changes and server transfers, and also like gold that I bought from shady third-party sellers when I was younger. And let's just say, even then, like 8 years ago, it was in the thousands of dollars. So
Jesus,
I dread to think what it'd be now after like 17 years of playing it. Easily spent more money on WoW than any other game. Probably.
I'm sure a lot of people have spent a lot of money on WoW.
Yeah.
But I want to thank everybody for being here. All the mods, all the channel members. Everybody typing away in chat, making fun of me. It's perfectly okay. Everybody lurking, everybody listening to this later. Hope everybody's having a great day, a great week. We're getting close to the Xbox Game Showcase, and it hasn't leaked yet. So we got a lot here to talk about. We got some topics. Next gen consoles being leaked. Xbox Keystone. Jez basically announcing an Xbox product yesterday, which is great. Xbox passing on Marvel and Star Wars games and a whole bunch of stuff. So do us a big favor and hit that like button. It's just super easy. It doesn't cost you anything. Just hit the button. And share this out. Let everybody know that we are live. We would greatly appreciate that. And I'm going to read a couple of the super chats here and the member messages. We got one from Punkadish. My guy Punk. Been a member for 15 months and says, time for E3 news and ramp up the hype. Hope you dudes are having an awesome day. Yeah, we're having a great day. I always feel so much better when we actually do the podcast on Friday. I don't know about you, but it's just like, I don't like doing it on Saturdays. It's just like, yeah, let's do it on Friday. Soma King says shrimp males scalebound. Then we have our, every single episode somebody mentions scalebound, so this is kind of the way it is, right? Tommy says, long time listener, first time live. Awesome. Love you guys. One question. Why is no one talking about Roundhouse Studios? That is a mystery. Why is nobody talking about them, Jez? Is it because nobody knows what they're making? presumably. So it's kind of hard to talk about now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but have they actually made a game before? Aren't they just like a collection of people that were from Human Head Studios when Prey 2 got shut down? Am I right on this? They haven't actually made a game yet, right?
I believe they have not. They formed in 2019, and they're working on unannounced projects, as far as we know. So, you know, I'm sure they've contributed to some existing games that we play, like maybe, you know, supported Fallout 76 or something like that, maybe here and there. But they haven't. We don't know what they're working on. So could be anything, could be nothing, could be everything. We'll have to wait and see.
Do you think there's a chance we see what they're working on this year?
There's probably a chance. I mean, they formed in 2019. Maybe they'll like announce what they're working on, like a CGI teaser or something. Oh, sorry.
Maybe you're tired already? Or something? What's going on? You said specifically you were going to take a nap and you were going to be ready to go for the podcast.
I did take a nap, but I'm still a little bit tired. But I'm not super tired. But we'll get through it. It's fine.
Sam Tolbert, our buddy in chat, your co-worker still, right? But he works for Android Central or Windows Central. How does that work?
He works for both of us.
Ah, okay. He says that they are Human Head Studios. Bethesda rehired the entire studio. It's a complicated name change. They're in the same office as before. So, and nobody knows what they're working on.
Why did they? I need to look into that. Like, why did they like rebrand their clothes and then reopen or rebrand it for tax purposes or something? I don't know. That's interesting, but
I don't know either. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I posted this on the best thread at Reset Era, the only thread that's actually worth going into in the Xbox Studios thread. I went in there and I said hi. And I said, it's kind of interesting. This time last year, I think me and you pretty much knew majority of the show that Xbox was doing, at least the first party stuff. We could guess what was going on.
Yeah.
But this year seems to be a little bit different. Wouldn't you say? It seems
I ain't got a clue.
It seems like
well, actually, that's not true. I do know some things. But mostly I don't have a clue.
Well, you do know some things, huh? Should we get Jez drunk? Because when you're drinking, you leak. And I'm sure there are people out here that would love to know what you know. Or is it like what's not there, essentially? So like people can...
I know some things that are not there, but I also know some things that are there.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you care to enlighten us, peasants?
No.
Well, I'm the interviewer, and you're supposed to answer these questions. You can't answer with a no. It's got to be, Come on.
I'm not. No. I'm not spoiling E3. That's mean.
Not spoiling E3.
But what I will do is I'll point out fakes because there's a lot of fake news flying around.
What are some fake ones that you can point out for the people out there?
Well, I saw one that was making the rounds where it was like Call of Duty's day one in Game Pass.
Oh,
that's obviously not happening.
That is definitely. I don't know why people were trying to run with that. Like even months ago, people were like, "Oh, if the Activision deal gets cleared by this year," which I believe there was like a post from a European lawyer saying there is a chance it could clear by the end of the year. But there was like, in my opinion, zero chance that game was ever going to be in Game Pass simply because Sony has the marketing rights for the next three if you include Warzone 2. So Sony usually has clauses in their marketing agreements for those games not to be on Game Pass. So whenever the deal does close, you'll probably get like the back catalog of all the Call of Duty games, but you won't get Modern Warfare 2 on Game Pass day one. So, yeah. And it's funny because it's marketed by Sony, correct? We saw that the release date was announced October 28th, and the first beta is exclusive to PlayStation, or at least launching earlier on PlayStation.
A lot of people were hoping that the marketing would shift, but we're nowhere near that point with the acquisition yet. So any leaks that claim that anything Activision-y is happening, don't believe them. I mean, there might be something with like Diablo, because I do believe Microsoft has the marketing rights with Diablo, but that's probably it. There won't be anything like all of a sudden all of Activision games are hitting Game Pass. We're not at that point yet. But it's coming. It's coming.
And Jason,
I'm not going to spoil E3.
Jason Max says game insiders are pointless. They know stuff, but they never leak it. Yeah, you never leak anything, Jez. Damn.
Yeah, I never leak a damn thing.
Damn game insider, never leaking nothing.
Nah, I just tease and never leak a thing. I never leaked anything in my life. Ever.
So yeah, what other things are out there? Because rumors are running rampant. I saw one about like Wolfenstein 2 coming in 2022, which is a favorite over at the Reset Era thread, or Avowed or Hellblade 2 coming in 2022, which I think there's zero chance that Avowed or Hellblade come this year. Like literally 0% chance.
Yeah, I agree.
How do you feel about a stealth Wolfenstein 3? We're all watching the award. We see the gameplay demo of Starfield. We see some Redfall stuff. Got some other things, and then they end the show with Wolfenstein 3, and it says, launching October 2022. You think Wolfenstein 3 is real and is launching this year, Jez?
I highly doubt it, but, I haven't got information to suggest otherwise at the moment. But I would not expect that to happen. I mean, that'd be crazy, right? It'd be a pretty big deal if they did, but I just can't see it personally. I think they're working on Indiana Jones right now. And to shadow drop Wolfenstein when they've already announced Indiana Jones would be certainly a thing.
I mean, I would love it.
Who knows? I would love it, but I don't believe it.
I mean, I actually really want that to happen. I'm a huge, massive fan of the Wolfenstein games, and that would be something if, like, out of nowhere, there was just like, hey, we got a secret Wolfenstein game, and it's coming out in 4 months.
I mean, like, Bethesda they've done stuff like that in the past. Like, they did with Fallout 4, I believe, where they were just like, oh, here's Fallout 4, by the way, it's out in 6 months. And then they also announced, like, oh, here's Fallout Shelter, and by the way, it's available right now. So Bethesda likes doing that stuff. They do like to do it. But this, I don't know. This is before pandemic times, and I just can't see it. But who knows? Who knows, man? Who knows? I'd rather be hopeful and be wrong than, just be negative and right. But I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe a lot of these rumors. I don't believe those Mandalorian rumors of the Coalition. I don't believe we'll see Banjo. I don't believe the Wolfenstein thing. I don't believe a lot of that stuff that's flowing out there. But, who knows? Maybe it's all true.
That would be amazing if it was true.
Yeah. I think Jeff Grubb on Twitter said that the showcase is more locked down than usual this year. And maybe that's true.
You want to know why? Maybe you want to know why it's locked down? This is my theory. You want to know why?
Go on.
Because they filmed it at Bethesda. You see, if you film stuff at Redmond leaks, right?
That is true.
But nobody knows what Bethesda's doing. Bethesda's locked down. I mean, you yourself have mentioned that. You got Xbox sources. You got Activision Blizzard sources, right? You got sources everywhere except for Bethesda. You can't infiltrate that company. And I wonder if it's because, they're just very they take it a little bit more seriously. And we know that Xbox, at least the leadership team, all flew out there 2 weeks ago, for the worst week in Xbox history, according to my good friend Lord Cognito. Hopefully he listens to this part, unlike last week when I gave him a shout out and he totally skipped over it. What a friend he is. What a friend. So I think they filmed it there. And maybe they just haven't uploaded it to Redmond servers or whatever, and they're just like, nope, we're going to keep it here, locked down. God Howard is, protecting it with his life, and that's why nothing's leaked, because Bethesda's taking care of
Bethesda.
it. It's all under Bethesda
maybe.
and not Xbox, and that's, I mean, like, I'm trying to have fun with it. It just seems like nobody knows what Bethesda's doing, but everybody knows what Xbox is doing. Like, how many code names you got? You got code names for days.
I got thousands of code names.
Bethesda, you got nothing.
I even got code names that ain't out there yet.
Yeah.
But it's yeah. I think the problem with Microsoft is that there's so many moving parts of Microsoft and so many different departments and middle management layers, and things have to be approved by all sorts of different departments. So there's exponentially more points of failure when it comes to leaking from Microsoft. Everything leaks from Microsoft because it's so damn big, And I think things just, even like in an unmalicious way, a lot of the leaks that I've gotten weren't even supposed to leak. Like, nobody leaked it intentionally. It's just as a result of, so many different ways things could leak. With like leaky blog servers is a favorite of mine with Microsoft system. Putting things in a public place where they hope no one will find it. And obviously people do find it because people are always constantly scanning Microsoft servers for things that they can publicly get access to. But I don't know. I think you're right. I think probably we're having a bit of fun with it, but I actually think there's probably some truth to that. But yeah.
What if like Bethesda PR was the one in control of this one, and that's why like it hasn't leaked, because none of the Xbox PR were. I don't know if that really means anything, but it's just weird because most of the Xbox shows end up leaking at some point, but this one's not. So maybe something changed. Either way, we got a super chat here from Darian Crago, who says, "Hey guys, love the show. Also, have you guys seen the game The Callisto Protocol? It's being made by the creator of Dead Space. Indeed, I have, and I cannot wait to play it. I cannot wait to learn more. We'll probably see more of it at Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest, which is starting, in a couple weeks from now. They just revealed the main character of the game. He was in the Transformers movies. Like, his name's on the tip of my tongue, but he's been doing mocap.
I know. It's Optimus Prime.
Not Optimus Prime.
It's Megatron.
God, I'm
Starscream.
sure. No, I'm sure somebody in the chat knows the actor's name, but he's been basically doing mocap for 3 years for the game. And they dropped the PUBG like references, because it's supposed to be set in the PUBG world or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about. I had no idea that was a thing. Like, that it was in the PUBG universe. First of all, does PUBG even have a narrative? I thought it was just random combat battle royale, the game, and none that had no story.
Shout out to Miles Dampier. He says it's Josh Duhamel.
Josh Duhamel.
Yes. And some people are saying they haven't even filmed the showcase yet, probably. Ryan says that, and I'm pretty sure, really sure that they have already filmed it. What would you say, Jez?
I think they've probably filmed it, the B-roll. I think they've filmed the B-roll, and it's probably being edited right now, and they'll probably decide which bits to take out and which bits to keep in. Because, like, that's another way you can stop leaks, is to, like, not show anyone the whole show, right? Mm-hmm. So really, like, only the execs know what's actually going to be included, and only the editors know, and producers, I guess. That also stops leaks, right?
Yes.
But I don't get it. How was this game supposed to fit into the PUBG universe?
Well, no,
I don't get that.
It was supposed to be like set years in the future, but it's no longer set in the PUBG universe, so you don't have to worry about it. Maybe they thought.
What even is the PUBG universe?
I don't know, man. It's just chicken dinner, winner, whatever the hell the saying was. Winner, chicken dinner.
Hang on. You played the game for 1,000 hours.
I played the game for 1,000 hours. Whatever.
You didn't win many of them, then, did you?
I actually won like 250 of them, sir.
Oh, all right. Well, you mean you got carried?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I played with Magic, Maka, and Gopher are better PUBG players than I am. Yes, significantly so, especially Magic. Way better than I am. So yeah, I mean, I guess. Well, I take offense to that. Like I was a good fourth wheel. Okay, not every. I did my part. So.
Drawing aggro.
I didn't get out and die stupidly and stuff. I did what was expected of me.
Okay.
It's tough. It's tough to get kills when you're competing with Magic. For Christ's sake, he's like an FPS pro.
Oh.
Anyways, yeah, I can't wait for Callisto Project. Face23 Brooklyn says, I predict one of these to happen. Resident Evil 4 remake announcement trailer, the Final Fantasy 16 trailer with release date, Final Fantasy 7 remake part 2 trailer, Silent Hill trailer at the PlayStation State of Play. So State of Play was announced today for June 2nd. Jeff Grubb's taking his victory tour. I don't know if you saw that, but it's kind of funny. How do you feel about like people like if you get something wrong, right? You say something's going to happen, it doesn't happen because things change or you were told wrong information. And then, like, people never believing you or always doubting you after that, even though, like, you have a pretty damn good track record.
Don't know. It's never happened to me.
Never happened to you? Okay.
No, never wrong.
Never wrong? Never wrong, sir?
Never wrong.
Never wrong? You never said on this show multiple times, Starfield's a lock, baby. 100% coming out in the year 2022. Definitely never being...
That was a belief. That was a belief. That was not my leak. That was a belief.
Yeah, but sometimes people conflate the two and take your beliefs as leaks.
Well, they shouldn't, because that was a belief. Never. I may always make a point that I don't have any info on Bethesda. They're super locked down. No one knows anything about that studio. So, yeah, that was a belief. When have I ever been wrong? Name one time.
It's just funny because Jeff said that there was going to be a State of Play in the first week of June, and people were doubting him pretty hardcore and making fun of him, calling him names. And
who would doubt Jeff Grubb? Like his track record's like almost flawless, isn't it?
But
what has he ever got wrong? I don't know.
I mean, people still hold over the whole, you said Xbox Live was going free. And it didn't happen. Someday. I mean, hell, me and you have been riding that train as well,
I'm still riding that train. Someday.
I'm not
offering a timeline. If it might be 50 years, it might be 5 years.
Yeah, our buddy...
someday.
Our buddy Sub ZX, I don't know if he's listening, but he's the architect of them getting rid of Xbox Live Gold, right? His whole future thing he talks about constantly. Now he actually works at Xbox. I believe he works at Minecraft or something. And I'm like, well, now that you're on the inside, you better, the one thing that always stained your record was this Xbox Live Gold. You said it would go free and it still hasn't. So now that you're there, you better make it happen. Otherwise, so much for the future.
Also, Zedox, because he works for Mojang, he can get us a super duper graphics pack that never came out.
Yeah, I know. Freaking Mojang. Z Black Rider, thank you for the super chat. He says, everyone concerned about 2 Bethesda games. Xbox games will be seen on the 12th. Yes. Fletch says, Jez, put it this way. We will be happy with E3. Will we be happy with E3 based on what you know? Also, blink twice for Diablo 4 and Game Pass Day 1.
Well, can't blink because no camera. But
yes,
I'm optimistic. A lot of people I spoke to who are aware of what's coming, they're pretty confident, and that makes me confident. I feel like these people wouldn't be confident if there was no reason to be confident. I feel like there'd be some sort of trepidation or nervousness about it, but I don't know. It feels like they're confident this year about what's coming and what's being shown. So, yeah, there was a delay. 2 games got delayed, but I think the feeling coming out of E3 will be a positive one.
Yes.
Unless people have like just ridiculous expectations, like I don't know, like just like 1,000 new exclusives or something. I don't know.
1,000.
Yeah, 1,000.
I
don't know. What's a ridiculous expectation that's just completely unrealistic?
That's a good question. What would be an unrealistic expectation?
Microsoft secretly ninja acquiring a bunch of studios, or announcing the revival of every game people want, like Killer Instinct, Banjo, Conker, Blinks.
Well, no, because I think they will do.
Like,
I mean, are you talking about specifically this year, or just in general? What would be unrealistic?
Just in general, you know. Like sometimes people have just completely unrealistic expectations, and then even though it's like a really good show, generally speaking, they still come out like, "Oh, I'm disappointed." Maybe because there was like the specific thing they wanted wasn't there or something. I don't know. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. You'd have
we
to
all get excited about different things, right? I guess.
Yeah. That we do. We got another super chat from Army. He says, or Amine, what the hell was that all Gorgon no demo tweet from Xbox? I think it was them just promoting Stranger Things. I don't really think it means anything, really. It's just Stranger Things is a big thing that's dropping this week, and Xbox wants to be a part of it, you know, cross-promotional kind of stuff, and I think they even had, like, some Xbox stuff going on in LA today. I saw pictures over in, like, LA Live or something. I mean, I don't think it means, like, there's an exclusive Stranger Things games. I mean, maybe they announced, like, oh, Xbox Game Pass perk for June is like a month of Netflix or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
But you know, Xbox likes to be social. You know, they ratioed the shit out of Kotaku this week.
Yeah. Is that this week?
That's this week.
Right. It feels like last week.
Well, it's because it kind of was carryover, man. It's kind of been carryover. Oh, Miles says there was a custom Xbox announced. That's right. They love to do that stuff. I did see a picture of that. So there you go. A custom Xbox console that only one person is ever going to be able to get.
Do you like Stranger Things?
Yeah, I actually like Stranger Things a lot. I'll be watching the new season tonight, probably. 7 episodes.
I tried to get into it, but I couldn't. Like, does it pick up at some point? I think I watched like 3 episodes. I was like, man, I'm just bored. Bored, man. Well, does it get better?
Yes, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Maybe I'll struggle through. I don't
know. JC says, Susan, have a better show, Sony or Xbox? I mean, we got a week to go for the state of play, June 2nd. Here's the thing I'll say about the Sony stuff. I think people normally... Well, because they said this one's going to focus on exciting third-party reveals and PSVR 2 launch titles or titles for the PSVR 2. It's 30 minutes long. I expect the Xbox showcase to be like an hour and a half. The thing is, the state of plays are normally lower key affairs. The showcases are the big ones, and if anything's to go by for the last couple years, Sony typically does their showcases around September time.
Yeah.
So I've already seen people like go crazy with their predictions for state of play, like, you know, Street Fighter 6 and Resident Evil 4 and Final Fantasy 16 and, you know, like Silent Hill and this and that. And then it usually ends up being like a bunch of indie games or a bunch of smaller games, maybe a couple other kind of bigger AAA games that Sony is marketing for, and that's it. And then people get on Twitter and they just, oh, that show was terrible. And it's kind of what we just talked about, like people's expectations, right?
Yeah.
They kind of hype themselves up. And, you know, when you're sitting there thinking that, like, there's going to be all these huge reveals and there's not, and there's like, here's the release date for Stray, and here's, you know, a trailer for Harry Potter again. or here's a trailer for Spoken, and people are like, "No, man, this was a waste of time." So I think if people go, especially PSVR 2 stuff, because VR is a very niche subject, and I'm almost afraid to even talk about it in the podcast, because I know in previous podcasts, and I know this is the thing, even like listening to people in the industry, like when someone starts talking about VR, listeners tune out because people don't care. People just don't care about VR. So, it's kind of...
Wait. You're telling me that people don't care about VR? Do they care about the blockchain? No?
The blockchain.
No? Blockchain? No?
Yeah, so...
I actually have a VR leak.
Oh, you do? What is it?
Yeah. Tencent is making a VR headset.
Are they?
Yeah. That's a VR leak. My first.
Ooh.
And probably last. But yeah. So Tencent's looking into hardware by the sounds of it. But that's spooky, man. But I'm kind of glad that it's VR, because it means I don't have to care about it. Because like you say, I don't care about VR either. And do you know why, Rand?
Why?
Fucking makes me feel sick.
Yeah, that's true.
Why would I play something that makes me feel sick? I don't know. Until they can solve that part, I think it's pretty crucial to not feel sick when I'm playing a game. Alas, this is VR. And people say to me like, "Oh, you get used to it." You don't. You don't get used to it. You always feel sick. I tried really hard to get used to it, and I can't. Rip.
Yeah, so I think if people go into Sony's show with realistic expectations, hell, they might not... I know, like, the topic right now is like, oh, God of War's the release date's gonna be revealed for God of War. And it's like, kind of slow your roll, slow down a little bit. I know it's been rated in Korea, and I do think it's coming out this year. Like, I think it's coming out late summer. So, like, late September, early October. And I would not be surprised if it does come out late September, early October, that Forspoken gets delayed to next year because of it. There's no way, like, if you're Square Enix and God of War is launching like 2 weeks before you or a week before, there's no way you're not moving that game, right?
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Because that's exclusive, right?
That's only on PlayStation. I mean, it's also on PC, but I would imagine Square Enix to be like, no, we're moving Forspoken out of the way because we're not gonna get Elden Ringed, essentially.
But what if Forspoken's actually really bad and they just send it out to die?
Nah,
like they did,
I don't still
like
think they
Babylon's Fall. I mean, they sent Babylon's Fall out to die, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think people kind of knew Babylon's Fall wasn't going to be any good, judging from the footage. I think there's still hope that Forspoken's good. But yeah, I just think like if God of War's coming late summer, so late September, early October, it's like, yeah, you just need to delay Forspoken till early next year.
But Forspoken has like the worst title.
Yes.
Yeah.
It totally
it's the worst
totally has the worst name. So yeah,
it's right up there with Revengeance.
Metal Gear Rising Revengeance? That was a great title. What are you talking about?
Revengeance. It's not even a word.
Doesn't even matter. It's a great title for a great, amazing game. From the makers of Babylon's Fall, by the way.
Oh, God. That's so strange to think about. Like as a quick segue, or like, a random aside, did you see that Metal Gear Rising has risen on strangely risen up in popularity out of the blue
because of memes or something, right?
Yeah, so like it's sort of not even memes really. Like everyone just kept talking about how good it is, and it is good. Like for me, it's one of the best, if not the best, Metal Gear Solid title for me. Metal Gear title. I suppose it's not Metal Gear Solid, but I absolutely loved it. I couldn't believe how good it was. I had really low expectations, and I went into Rising like constantly mind blown. It had some of the best boss battles I've ever experienced in a game, and surprisingly poignant dialogue and just absolutely ridiculous cutscenes. Like that game was amazing. And for some reason, nobody really cared that much about it until recently, which is just so strange to me. But at least it's getting some love now. Sadly, not that it'll help because Konami sucks. Rip.
Yeah. I love Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance though, but
Yeah, amazing game.
yeah, so I mean there's a chance like even God of War won't be at the show. They won't announce the release date there because maybe they just do a own state of play for that later. Definitely seems like this I think God of War is going to have a short marketing window, but it's like does that game even need a marketing window? The game's probably just going to sell a crap ton, but so yeah, state of play, I always, keep your expectations in check. The showcase is probably going to be the big one. Like, I see people saying, we're going to see Wolverine, we're going to see Spider-Man 2, we're going to see, Last of Us and all this other stuff. It's like, that's probably more showcase stuff later in the year. Daniel says, can we expect Persona or any other JPGs at the show? JRPGs.
I think so. Not Persona. I have no idea about that, but there'll be JRPGs. Will it be Persona? I have no idea. But I think Microsoft's going to want to have some kind of Japanese presence at their showcase. What that looks like exactly, I have no idea. I would hope that it was Persona is like a dream, a lovely dream, but maybe it is just a dream, sadly. But who knows? Yeah. Maybe it'll be there. This is the thing. I have really like no idea. I know a couple of things, just a couple of things that are definitely being there, which helps me discern what's fake. Because if I see a list that says something's going to be there that I know isn't, or says that something isn't going to be there that I know is, then I know the list is fake. So like even from like a couple of things that I know, that helps me discern who knows what's real and what's just bullshit.
Normally by now, I had expected to see at least 3 or 4 of these fake lists of what's at the show, and I think I've seen one, and I think it was the one that you.
3.
I've seen one, and that one was like Modern Warfare 2 Day 1 Game Pass. It's like, bro, Modern Warfare 2 is number 1, not even going to be at the showcase because Microsoft doesn't have the marketing for it, and 2, it's definitely not going to be on Game Pass. So this whole list is just fake, right? So that's the only one I've seen. I haven't seen any others. I don't know if people are just not creative enough or something. This year,
people post their wish list, don't they? I guess.
Yeah, they do.
But it's yeah. I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea what's at the show. I mean, there's a lot of good guesswork you can do. There's a lot of like sort of semi-obvious things, like Contraband's going to be there. Obviously, Contraband's going to be there. There's they announced it, and I know from my documents that the development pipeline sort of it got disrupted by COVID, but it was meant to come out. Either this year or last year even, so that's got to be pretty close theoretically. But so there's things that sort of make it easy to guess, but there's going to be loads of surprises, I think, because I just have no idea. It's all weird and crazy, and I'm excited that I don't know, frankly.
Well, you know what? I don't mind getting spoiled, so you can spoil it to me and only me, and I'll be good, because I don't really mind spoilers. I know other people do, but
I'll spoil you after the show.
Okay, cool. Damn, I'm going to know everything after the show. Sweet. Dead Planet says,
one thing.
Callisto Protocol definitely feels like a Game Pass game. I mean, we don't even know what the game is. We haven't seen any like gameplay of it. I don't know how you can say.
Isn't it survival horror?
Yeah, well, it's from the creator of Dead Space, so I kind of look at it as like this spiritual successor to Dead Space. So we're going to have a spiritual successor to Dead Space and a Dead Space remake. So exciting. Flame says it gained popularity recently because Senator Armstrong punching Jack and saying, quote, making the mother of all omelets is the new Rickroll. So there you go.
Okay. Well, I don't know. That game's so damn meme-worthy. Senator Armstrong is just an amazing character. Like, so wild. Man, I just love that game. And you can play it with Game Pass. Not Game Pass, backwards compatibility. So I might reinstall it and get another car.
Yeah.
Oh man, so good. The parry mechanic is so satisfying in that game. Man, I'm all revengeanced up now.
So, what should we talk about? Which, by the way, guys, if you're enjoying the show, make sure you hit the like button. And even though this episode's not sponsored by Manscaped, you can still always use the code XB2 at the checkout, right, Jez?
Yeah, our code is still up. So if you want 20% off, check out the link I put in the chat.
Yeah. So let's talk about the oldest bit of news that kind of took the internet by storm. I even had a tweet about it, and that's the whole Game Pass situation, shall we say.
Yeah.
Look, I think even when we did the show the day after the Starfield and Redfall delay, I said to everybody, look, if you feel like you're not getting your money's worth to Xbox Game Pass or any subscription service, just hit that cancel button and then come back when you feel like they have stuff you want to play. Right? Because it's funny, Jez, because I tweeted out, let me get my tweet because it's one of the few tweets I tweeted out this past week. Am I doing this right? I hereby announce on this Monday, May 23rd, that I, Randall Thor 19, have decided to resub to Xbox Game Pass, which I didn't because I'm already subbed all the way up full for 3 years. So I lied. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know, right? Oh, wait, am I supposed to unsub to Game Pass because the FTC might arrest me? I'm confused. What's their narrative today? And it got 115 retweets and 1,300 likes or whatever. Yeah. And it's funny because people were taking that that tweet super seriously, I was attacking people, and it's I don't know, did you not see the whole I hereby declare Monday, I tried to make it as a joking of a tweet as it's possible, because a few influential people over the weekend were Game Pass got nothing for me, I'm gonna unsubscribe, which, hey, like I said, if you're not happy with your subscription service, just unsubscribe. I mean, there's a lot of people unsubscribing from Netflix right now, so much so that the value of their company is tanking, right?
Yes.
So it's and yeah, right now, you look at Game Pass and it's whew, I don't really got anything because we don't know anything Xbox is doing. So it's yeah, if you're paying month to month, why not unsubscribe and see what happens? And it's funny because I had people quote retweet me being you're damage controlling, blah, 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 blah. And it's thank you for telling me you don't listen to podcasts without telling me you don't listen to what me and Jez have to say. This is a typical thing that always happens. Just because we're Xbox fans, they think, we basically are on our knees all the time for Xbox and we never criticize them. That everything they do, we're basically, saying, yes, go Microsoft. You do nothing wrong. And it's nah, man, we said not to subscribe. We said to cancel. And in fact, I think me and you both said outside of January, for the most part this year for Game Pass has been subpar compared to previous years, which is just my personal opinion. If you think it's differently, then it is what it is. But people are how they usually are, because they don't actually watch or care about what you actually think. They just want to get angry at you on social media.
Yeah.
But this then, this created the ratio, which is incredible because I normally you will not see Xbox act this way, right? At all.
It's quite interesting.
And it's quite interesting. So Kotaku wrote an article essentially a few days later after the story had kind of evaporated and nobody was talking about it. And they essentially presented these tweets from these people as an overall feeling that there was burnout with Xbox Game Pass. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you take a couple people's tweets and essentially form a narrative that people are unhappy with Game Pass or, there's burnout. But then again, it's Kotaku, so what you gonna do? Anything for clicks, I suppose. So Xbox like literally replied to them. Had to have been Josh Stein, right? In my head, it's Josh Stein who tweeted this and said, tell me, what did he say, Jez? What was the tweet?
Tell me you don't play indie games without telling me you don't play indie games, or something.
Or tell
like
me
that.
you only play AAA games without,
or
something like that, or and oh my lord, did it like destroy the Kotaku tweet so much so that like people were saying this is wrong, you shouldn't be attacking them, and all this other stuff, but. It was hilarious. I don't know. What did you think of the whole thing? Being as somebody who actually writes for a website, Windows Central, you can look at it from multiple perspectives. I look at it like, damn, Kotaku just got roasted, and I'm not a fan of Kotaku. Anyways, the only like time I ever thought Kotaku was a worthwhile site to visit was when Jason Schreier worked there, when he actually would have in-depth articles about stuff. Ever since then, I think they've gone down, the crapper. But you being someone who works at like a video game website, essentially, you can look at it multiple different ways. How do you feel of a console manufacturer basically roasting a website, and what are your personal feelings on all that whole situation?
I think it's hilarious because they were basically tabloiding it, making a mountain of a molehill. It was just a couple of guys, and Gene and Tony, who were like prominent journalists, and people pay attention to what they say because that's their job. They're paid to offer their opinion, and they offered some passing comments saying like, "I'm gonna cancel Game Pass because I don't feel like there's anything particularly great in there right now," which is completely, exactly like fine. In my view.
Well, some people had an issue with them announcing it. Like, don't do it, just announce it. Like,
people use Twitter in different ways. I tweet literally almost every single thought I have.
Yes, unfortunately, we have to see every single thought that you think during the day.
Sometimes I just tweet random characters. Like, I use Twitter that way.
And now that you're verified, like your voice even carries more weight because Tony and Gene were verified, right?
Yeah.
So they're the check marks, because there's also this whole thing of like, us versus them, right? The check marks of gaming Twitter versus us regular plebs. I tried to get verified on Twitter recently. They just shut me down immediately. Like. Who are you? Interviewer of Jess Corden? You're not worthy of getting verified.
Well, you actually have to tweet to get verified. So I think, Rand.
Yeah, well, they actually did say I don't meet the minimum threshold of followers in my region and the minimum threshold of mentions. Is what they said.
Use Twitter some more then. But I replied to that. I was like, I tweeted an Uru. And then someone was like, man, I was going to click on another notification, but then it got replaced with this ooh. So, people use Twitter in different ways. I spam every single thought that I have. And a lot of other people do as well, And I don't think it's fine if you're putting something publicly out there, then respectfully criticize it and stuff like that. But to spin a couple of passing comments into a whole narrative that Xbox Game Pass has burned out and lost its hype, per the spin that was on that title. So, if you project hyperbole, you're gonna get some of it back sometimes. And I think that's sort of what Xbox did, replied with hyperbole. And I thought it was completely fair and harmless what they did. And also, I think it's not just a defense of Game Pass, it's a defense of developers of smaller games, where like and I tweeted out like Game Pass for me, and I think it's completely fine if you're in Game Pass because you want those $500 million budget games or whatever. But for me, the attraction of Game Pass was never about that. Like, I play like all sorts of different games. Like we talked about earlier, how like I was playing Ayuden Chronicle, which is on Game Pass, which I wouldn't have touched probably. I would have just ignored that game completely, and stuff like that. Game Pass is a discovery engine, for me, And I think it's sort of, we sort of see it through this lens of, especially with all the stuff going on with Netflix right now, where people are like, oh, Netflix doesn't have anything, so let's unsubscribe, blah 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 blah. And sort of people look at Game Pass through that kind of lens, and all the time comparing it to Game Pass and to Netflix all the time. I think it's completely unfair, you know. And yeah, we haven't had like the sort of same kind of pivotal games hitting the service this year. Like I remember like Outriders and MLB The Show dropping back to back last year was kind of like made a big splash. And you know, then you've got like your Halos and you know your Forzas and some of the other big games that hit last year. And yeah, this year's not looking particularly shining right now. Although I presume at the showcase we're going to get a bunch of announcements about what to expect through Q3 and Q4 for Game Pass, and it'll probably look a lot better after the next couple of weeks than it does right now. But I also think like there's a lot of value you can get out of those smaller games, you know. And if you are someone who like, and I've talked about this before, like as a little kid, I couldn't afford all these like $60 games all the time. It's so like, it's such a great thing that kid me would have had the opportunity to experience like so many damn games for like a relatively low price. So I think that's where Xbox was coming from for me. It was a defense of smaller games, like the whole sort of thing. Like Xbox is losing its hype because you know it doesn't have constant AAA bangers like hitting there every single week in, week out. Loads of cool little games have been hitting the service, and you know, like Trek to Yomi, for example, which I haven't even really played that much yet. Slap that in the backlog. With Sniper Elite 5's did really well on reviews, and there's loads of other little games.
Well, yeah,
that have been
Achievement
Loot River as well.
Achievement in the Super Chat says he beat Trek to Yomi, Uden Chronicles, and Sniper Elite 5 this month. Thanks to Game Pass, $100 value. No way I'm canceling now. So
exactly, you know, it's so. I think for Microsoft or you know for Xbox Game Pass social team to just be like to clap back in what I thought was a pretty harmless way, and then some people were like clutching their pearls over it, like, "Oh no, big mean corporation." You know, it's. I just thought it was a whole like farce. You know, it's just silly. And I feel bad for Gene and Tony because they had no intention for that to blow up into a thing or become a narrative. But then people who like to sow narratives, they took advantage of Tony and Gene to create a narrative. Fanboys used it to create a narrative, and then you got like tabloid outlets use it to create a narrative, and it just became this whole thing, you know. And people are a bit sensitive right now because of you know the whole Starfield thing, and people were attacking Gene and Tony, and I think that's completely out of order because criticize respectfully journalists. Like I completely welcome that. Like I love getting the feedback in. But when it's just blatant bad faith trolling or misrepresenting what they're coming from, or just making assumptions, or like people calling Tony a fanboy, for example, like he's one of the fairest guys I know these days. You know, he praises both platforms and criticizes both platforms, like much like we do. You know, and if you actually know, like you said earlier, you know, people just they want to attack without knowing the people or the context or where people are coming from when they tweet some of these things. And that's why, like, you know, you can get into a sort of philosophical discussion about Twitter just being a shit platform for discussion because it dehumanizes the messages and it dehumanizes the person behind the tweet, you know. Yeah. Which is why, Rand, I just tweet bullshit all the time. I tweet pictures of beans, I tweet oohs, and I tweet bullshit because Twitter's a bullshit platform. It doesn't deserve the respect of you know, being like it's supposed to be fun. It's not a serious place. It's not a place for serious debate. It's a place for BS, memes, and fun, and getting like links to credible information. And I think people just take the whole thing too damn seriously.
What's a better platform in your opinion, Twitter or Facebook?
Oh God, they're both terrible, really.
Well, you gotta pick one.
I think Twitter's more fun than Facebook. Like, Like if you're a liberal with the block button on Twitter, you can create like a really great community. You know, you can create a really great community around people who aren't just, looking to be angry. Like they're looking for a reason to be offended. You know, so you can create like a great community if you want using Twitter. It takes a lot of work. Curating human beings takes a lot of work. Which is why I block first and ask questions later.
Yeah, so many people have asked me, like, can you get Jez to unblock me? I don't know why you block me. I'm like, yeah. A Gun's a Gun in the chat says, I'm in Game Pass for day one Xbox exclusives, to be honest, and it's kind of getting annoying not knowing what's coming to me. I'm buying the indies, smaller games already. They're cheap anyways. So there are people like, A Gun's a Gun, right? There's people like Flame and Nightwolf says in the super chat, people sleeping on Jurassic World Evolution 2, Sniper Elite 5, both $6 games, both pay for your value of Game Pass for the year already. So people play for, they play for different reasons. Some people only want the AAA experiences, some people only want the exclusives, some people are fine playing, all the different games that come out every single month, all the different, great indie games that come. I guess it really depends on what you're using the platform for, and I think Microsoft, they're the ones that came out in 2019 saying they want a big game every quarter in Game Pass, and they haven't really delivered that. And some people, especially with the delay of Starfield and Redfall, some people might be like, I've seen this sentiment on Twitter basically saying like, I prepaid for a year, right? Thinking I was getting these things, and now I'm not, and I feel like I've been made a fool of, or I've been swindled, right? Do you think
if you're buying it for just 2 games, why wouldn't you just buy the 2 games?
I'm just saying, I've seen the sentiment.
You save money, right? Overall.
Well, it depends. I mean, if you're getting Ultimate, you're saving. It would cost the same, $60 for Redfall, $60 for Starfield.
Why would you pay for a year subscription with the intent of only using it to play 2 games?
I don't know.
That makes no fucking sense. That makes no sense, Rand. Makes no sense. I use Game Pass every month, because it's a monthly subscription. Like it makes no sense to pay for a year for Game Pass if you're thinking like, I'll get a year for Game Pass to play Starfield in Q3. That makes no sense. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But I think it's completely fine and valid to criticize Microsoft for the quality of Xbox Game Pass lineup right now. It's totally valid and fine, But to try and spin out this whole narrative that Game Pass is dying, or the hype is over, or the burnout is here, I think that's just hyperbole. Hyperbole.
Hey, that clickbait.
I used to say hyperbole when I was
clickbait. Gets them clicks, bro.
Gets them clicks. You know what else gets clicks, Ran?
What?
Investigative journalism.
Yeah, but that's hard. That takes time.
That does take time.
So yeah, the whole Game Pass thing I thought was funny. But I want to talk to you about your leak. Very interesting.
Leak?
Yeah.
What leak?
You wrote an article yesterday about Xbox Keystone. Now, Keystone was something that was discovered a couple months ago. I think it was was it Walking Cat, or maybe it was somebody else on Twitter found like a listing of a whole bunch of different like code names for Xbox, and people were speculating what it could be. People were like, is it a new console? Is it a handheld? Is it whatever? And I think we
talked about this one.
We talked about this before, and a couple weeks ago, like a year ago, I think Phil Spencer talked about like the idea of launching a streaming stick or whatever. And then they did the whole Fortnite thing with the Xbox Everywhere initiative, and they talked about like Tom Warren had mentioned in his tweet about how Xbox is doing a streaming puck, which you were like, wait a minute, why is everybody talking about the streaming puck? Because you had like leaked it earlier in the year, and then people were like, oh, look at this, like they're gonna make apps for like Game Pass on Samsung TVs and stuff like that. But you actually got to sit down with the Microsoft spokesperson to talk about what Keystone is, right?
Yes, indeed. So, all this Keystone stuff was really interesting. Like, as you said, I can't remember if it was Walking Cat or someone else, but a list of Xbox operating systems, or seemed to be operating systems, sort of appeared in like a manifest text file somewhere. And that's like I say, like sometimes leaks just happen when people crawl APIs and stuff like that, and data mine. And this Keystone originally emerged as a result of a data mine, right? A data mine of public files and stuff like that. And we actually talked about it on this podcast, I think, Rand. And didn't we say that we thought it was something server related and that it wasn't going to be anything else, right? We did talk about that, I think, on one podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, because I had assumed that Keystone originally. I had assumed that Keystone was not a consumer-facing product because it was a version of Windows, is what I was told. That Keystone was a version of Windows, and I was thinking, well, if it's a version of Windows, Microsoft's not going to put that on anything else but a full-blown Xbox or some kind of server thing, So my assumption was Keystone was not a consumer-facing product. However, found out that was the wrong assumption to have made, because it seems that Keystone is in fact the streaming thing device. It's not a puck, Rand. It's not a stick or a puck, as I found out recently, even after that article. I've heard it's more like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a mini console. It's bigger than a stick or a puck. It's gonna be something that sits under your TV. Not that big. It's more like a dock. Like a capture card almost. Like sort of. I've seen like a deck of cards being thrown around, but probably a little bit bigger than that. Maybe like two, like the volume of two playing card decks or something like that. But anyway, it's more like a dock, and it does seem that Keystone is like sort of like it's more like a platform that runs xCloud and possibly media apps in the future, which means it's Windows, right? So I'd always assumed that if they were going to do something like this, they'd run it off Android, because it means like they don't have to do like tons of work on it and stuff like that. But it does seem that this is going to be like some kind of Xbox operating system, Windows-based kind of thing, and yeah, streaming box. But this version of Keystone has been not shelved. It's not cancelled. Like I just saw GameIndustry.biz put up an article saying that it had been shelved. Hasn't been shelved exactly. It's being sort of iterated on. And I don't know why Microsoft described it that way to me specifically when I spoke to them about it. Because it's sort of like, it sounds like the wording in the quote is that they pivoted away from it. But they also haven't pivoted away from it. It's just sort of like going through an iteration. And I think it's because they sort of expected that it was going to leak. Because I've since discovered that they talked about it at a meeting, an all-hands meeting on Tuesday, which parts of that meeting have leaked. Because I don't know if you saw, but Phil was talking about recognizing Raven Software's... Yeah. So it was at that meeting where they mentioned about Keystone being sort of pushed back or delayed or something like that. And maybe they thought it was going to leak as a result of that meeting. I don't know. That's just speculation. But anyway, we do know it's here. We do know it's a real thing. And we, Phil already announced it, like sort of announced it in a blog post last year where he said they were exploring streaming sticks or streaming devices. Don't call it a stick, because it's not a stick. Bigger than a stick. But streaming devices, and they announced it themselves, really. But now they sort of like, they just came out and just sort of said, yeah, Keystone is related to this device, and it's also maybe not going to be announced anytime soon, because I think some journalists had expected they were going to announce it at E3. Well, they're not E3. I'm just going to call it E3.
Just call it E3. Just call it E3.
It's just E3. They had expected that just the Keystone was going to be announced at E3, but it's not been announced at E3. It's been announced. I mean, it's gone back to the drawing board to some degree. Well, not really. It's just been iterated on. So I don't think we're going to see this device drop on shelves until maybe next year at this point. There were suggestions that it could still come out this year, but no, I think it's next year at this point. And maybe for a full reveal later on or something. But I don't think we'll see it at E3. But it sounds pretty cool. Like, a lot of people were sort of, they were saying like, what's the point of this? I don't need this and stuff like that. And it's like, well, yeah, that is the point. It's not for you. It's for people who do need it, And that's the whole Microsoft's whole mission right now, is to meet people where they are, And for countries where purchasing consoles is just cost prohibitive because of tariffs and taxes and stuff like that, this kind of device will be far more affordable. And like I wrote in the article, like regions where xCloud is really blowing up, like South America, for example. Like, I've heard that, like, in Brazil, xCloud is driving double-digit growth for Xbox users, because xCloud, like, they've got good internet infrastructure in Brazil, but because of like taxes and tariffs, like, the consoles are really, really expensive to buy. So xCloud has become like a very popular alternative amongst some gamers. And then you've got Fortnite on there for free, which is obviously driving a huge amount of interest in the service as well. And then you're going to get Starfield on there later on, and you've got Halo in there as well, and Forza, Flight Sim. A lot of these games, like Forza and Flight Sim, just are pretty damn flawless on it. Like, I wouldn't want to play Halo competitively on xCloud,
Yeah, probably
but
not.
Forza,
right?
yeah, probably not. But Forza, Flight Sim, yeah, Forza works really well on xCloud. And then there's all the indie games, the fixed camera perspective games that I talk about. And so this is for those markets, really, and it's for people maybe they want a second console downstairs. I'm sure like one of the features they'll bake into it is the ability to stream your Xbox over a home network. So like it'll be faster than xCloud, presumably. If you've got an internet set up for it, because you can do that today. You can stream your Xbox to like a local device on the same Wi-Fi network, and maybe they'll let you do that as well, kind of like because Valve has a device that does that. Steam something or other. I can't remember what it's called. But Steam Link, that's it, yeah. So like you can use Steam Link and stream a PC to another device in your household. So maybe it'll have that feature as well. And then the media apps and Microsoft Movies and TV, which they only have licenses for Windows devices, which is why we don't have Movies and TV app for TVs, and we don't have a Microsoft Movies and TV app for Android or iOS, because they've only got the licenses for devices that are based on Windows. So which is why I could get Movies and TV on my Windows phone, but I can't get it on my bloody Android app. But with this device, I'll be able to have it on that instead, I guess. So I don't know, but it sounds really, really cool. I'm not someone who needs this device because I've got an Xbox Series X, which also runs xCloud anyway. But it's the kind of device that I might buy for downstairs, second house. It's the kind of device that I recommend to people, with like young kids for Game Pass. And I don't know, it's just another endpoint. It's just another endpoint.
Yeah, it makes sense. I am kind of shocked it's taking as long as it is. Although with Starfield delayed, maybe it's like, all right, well, because I was always thinking like, man, Starfield's like big game, and you would want to like have your streaming box out for it to get as many people playing it as possible. So okay, maybe they need to take it back to the drawing board. But I guess like the big question, because we've talked about this before, right? And this is one of the most like asked for things in the community. Do you think we'll get an Xbox handheld in the future.
Well, this
it,
is the cool sort of. Sorry, go on.
well,
I'll
like
let
so
you finish.
you so it's like you got the consoles, right? You got the high end premium version, you got the low end, right? You got PC, all the different configurations. You know, they've already talked about apps on smart TVs, right? You're gonna have this puck thing or whatever it's gonna cost that you can just buy and plug in. But then you look and see how popular the Switch is. You look and see how in demand the Steam Deck is, and all these manufacturers making these, you know, little like the Razer Kishis and stuff for your mobile phones. And it feels like the one thing that's sort of missing from Xbox's lineup of devices almost is a dedicated handheld. So, like, I guess the question is, and I think you've said before that you thought they were working on one, but you never knew or you didn't know if it would ever see the light of day, like, because they prototype a lot of different devices at Xbox, right? So do you think, like, it's more likely now that we'll see a handheld in the future by Xbox?
I think I have a theory.
Okay,
I have a theory that so Keystone appeared in a list of operating systems, right? Not a list of hardware SKUs. It appeared in a list of operating system SKUs. So I personally think that Keystone is a sort of a key to getting a handheld. If you've got like an operating system that is designed just to run xCloud and designed to run like maybe the key media apps, and maybe have like a few random like features like maybe clip recording and access to file infrastructure or something like that. If you've got that operating system in place for a streaming box, it would be sort of strange to not want to bother to transfer that to a handheld. I think at that point, if you've got all the APIs lined up, you've got the operating system in place, why not make a handheld? So for me, if Keystone is the operating system, that's for a plurality of devices. For me, that is like, yeah, we can make a streaming box with this, we can make a streaming handheld with this, whatever else. You know, we could, hell, Microsoft could make their own TV. I mean, they make displays already, Surface Studio, and the Surface thingamabob, Surface Hub. Why not make a TV and slap Keystone on that as well? You know, I could totally see that happening someday. Microsoft just making a TV. I mean, why not? So I think it's really interesting to think where that could go. And I just firmly believe now that Microsoft is going to make a handheld. I believe it. I believe. And if anyone at Microsoft's listening to this and want to leak it to me, go right ahead.
Well, that make a lot of people happy.
No, don't do that. Yeah,
but I guess
do that, you might lose your job. But
I guess
I'm hyped. I'm hyped for the possibility.
I think the question then is, because I know this will come up, would an Xbox handheld be cloud streaming only, or would it have local playback?
Well, therein lies the intrigue, really. Personally, I think it would be streaming only. But I know a lot of people won't want to hear that because, well, a lot of people either don't have reliable enough internet or they just don't really fancy streaming in general. And yeah, streaming has limitations. Like I say, I wouldn't want to play a competitive multiplayer shooter on streaming, you know. And to be fair, I haven't really tried it since like xCloud got much better. But at the same time, I just can't really see it. But I don't know. When this stuff is ready, presumably like I don't know. Let's say Keystone's ready somewhere in 2023. Maybe like xCloud's encoding algorithm gets even more efficient. Maybe it gets even faster. Maybe it starts beating GeForce Now, which is arguably the industry leader right now for streaming. You know, maybe we do get to a point where it's like it just feels one-to-one native. Like I said earlier, like I played Ayuden Chronicles, Chronicle Rising, completely on cloud, and I forgot that I was streaming. The only real thing that I noticed when streaming it on my Xbox was that there was a bit of judder while moving left to right. And the only thing I noticed while streaming on my PC, well, actually nothing. Maybe some pixelization on the edges of the screen. But on PC especially, I very, very quickly forgot that I was streaming a game. And I think like after another couple of years of development, that algorithm's going to get even better, and there'll be a point where it does feel native. Now, a lot of people, Rand, they worry that Microsoft's push for cloud is going to result in a future where there is no home console anymore and everything's just server based. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. Not under Phil anyway. Like the Microsoft will need a radical change of philosophy to want to move away from home consoles completely. And Microsoft just isn't like that. They like having a plurality of revenue streams. They don't have to make Surface laptops. Like they literally don't need to make them, but they make them anyway because they can. And if like xCloud runs on console hardware anyway. So if you're making the hardware, why not just make the console and sell that for people who want it anyway? Very much like how they make the Surface devices for people who want to buy them anyway. So I don't know. I think it's going to be. I mean, this is sort of roundabout way of answering your question, but I think there's a high chance that it could just be streaming only. But at the same time, AMD's putting out some pretty impressive, like, smaller chips right now. And they're like, we got the Steam Deck, which is really impressive. And, like, the Aya Neo, like, HMO Ham in chat just mentioned, which is AMD based, I believe, like Xbox. But
you see, the reason why I think if they do make one, or you could even say, like Evanor in chat says, if all does is stream, why even bother make the device? You can already stream to plenty of devices now, which makes, I could see that argument, but the reason why I think if they do make one, it'll be streaming only is because I doubt they want to, like, have developers make 3 SKUs of an Xbox game. You already have them making, like, an Xbox Series X game and an Xbox Series S version, right? Which we've even seen some developers kind of question, like the memory on it or whatever, right? There's been some pushback on the Series S and if it'll last the whole generation. But Microsoft basically is like, if you're making a game for our platform, you got to publish on both. I just can't then see them like, okay, we got a native handheld that is weaker than the S. So, like, you got to make a third version when in reality it's like they have Azure, so you would just use the, Series X or S version. Or, like, that's why I think it wouldn't be native. So you can actually bring the cost down. Because the reason why the Steam Deck is so expensive is because it's basically, it's a handheld PC. Like, if you just build a handheld streaming device, you don't need to have all those parts. So you can essentially sell it for $150 when the Steam Deck goes for what, $400? Yes. So I don't know. I would look at it more as like another low cost entry into Xbox, or just a device that people want if they want to take it on the go. I know, like, a lot of people in chat are saying, like, I don't want it if it's that. I want I want to be able to, like, play locally, but then it's like I just don't really see Xbox doing that. I just don't. I don't know. I could be wrong, but something tells me if they do make a handheld, it'll be streaming only.
I think you're right. I think people really need to, like, not expect this to have anything other than streaming, because of the SKU that you mentioned. Like, that's like, I didn't even mention that, but that's like the obvious real reason why they wouldn't do it. Because if they are going to squeeze an Xbox Series S into a handheld, it'd either be really, really chunky and bulky, or super expensive, or require a third SKU. Which, I don't think Microsoft wants to ask people to do that. So, I mean, Nintendo literally came out last week and they were like, "We're really nervous about making a new SKU of Nintendo Switch."
Well, actually, that was a mistranslation or something.
Oh, really?
Something like that. They didn't actually say that or something.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then. But it's at least for Microsoft when they've already got two main SKUs to target this gen. I don't think they would. Maybe like in the future they would explore it when, we get to a point where you can have really great graphics on a really small device without having it be like $500 or whatever, and people like pushing Polygon says it doesn't need to be chunky and bulky, but man, for me, the Steam Deck is pretty chunky and bulky. I would not want to carry that around with me. I don't know about you, but I mean, yeah, I want something smaller. If I was, I don't know, but
Yeah,
I want something the size of a Surface Duo, something I could like fold and put in my pocket, personally. But I don't know.
Yeah, so we won't see anything from this, at least this year. Definitely won't be at the showcase. Won't be coming out this year. So maybe look for it next year, or who knows? Maybe like even later than that. Nation Harris in the super chat says Game Pass saves me money. Instead of buying games I won't play much, I have a ton of stuff to dabble with while playing the live service games I play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's another thing. Like, when you're saving money on Game Pass, like I don't need to buy Sniper Elite. I can play it on Game Pass and then spend that money on something else. Like Overwatch loot boxes, maybe. No.
Yeah, Dead Planet says Rand just started Wheel of Time. What's your favorite book? Oh man, favorite book out of the series? Shadow Rising is probably number one. Knife of Dreams is probably, well, if you're talking about the ones Robert Jordan wrote, probably Knife of Dreams or Shadow Rising. And I thought like the last book, Memory of Light, was pretty damn awesome because it was the end, man. It was the end. So what else we got here to talk about? If you guys are enjoying the show, make sure you hit the like button. Greatly appreciate it. Okay, let's talk about TCL leaking the mid-gen consoles, Jez. Do you believe this? Do you believe this? How they just like what? They just come on and say, yeah, whatever. It's coming. So they were doing some sort of I don't know, some conference or something, and they talked about their new TVs, and they mentioned video games, and they showed up as a thing on screen that were like, hey, like Gen 8, Gen 8.5, Gen 9, Gen 9.5. So like the news from it was that they basically said in 2023 or 2024 there'd be a new Xbox Series X and S, a PS5 Pro as well, and it would be targeting 2160p at 60 to 120 render with UHD 8K with 60 to 120 output, RX 7700 XT GPU, and of course, people were like, this confirms it. There's mid-gen refreshes, which, look, I guess I'll say to this, there's no way that if these dudes knew that they would just blurb it like this. Like, they'd be so far under NDAs, it's ridiculous. So, it's a reasonable prediction, right? And Lone Wolf says talking about a mid-gen refresh is already stupid. The thing is, like, they could be right in that sense. There could, the PS5 Pro could be in the works. I don't know if a PS5 Pro would be coming this early, considering all the stock supply issues that everybody's having. And, I mean, I would expect there to be a new Xbox Series X and S, like slimmer versions, cost-saving versions, where, they get the chip sizes smaller and they can reduce costs and stuff like that. I mean, those happen literally every generation. So, at some point, they're going to be consoles that are smaller because it reduced cost. I guess the question is there going to be a mid-gen refresh? And I think we've talked about this on the show. And I think you said there will be, right?
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, you waffle back and forth on this, I think. Because I'm pretty sure at one point you said there will be. In fact, I think when last time we talked about this, you said there were going to be. Because I think there was something like, didn't Brad Sams mention something about new consoles? And then, or something like a couple weeks ago or like a month ago. And unless I'm misremembering wrong, I forget. So
I don't know. Personally, I don't think there will be a mid-gen refresh. I think they'll do slim versions, but I don't think they'll do what they did last gen with the One X. You know, a power bump mid-gen or an PS5 Pro. I don't know about Sony, but I don't think Xbox will. I think they'll stick with the Series X until the end of the gen. Personally.
So do you think TCL leaked this info? Do you think they know what's going on?
I don't think they know shit. I think it's just that was just their prediction. Sort of, they wanted to sort of frame it like a reason for 8K TVs to exist when there isn't really, in my opinion, right now. Obviously, technology always moves on and improves, and 8K will eventually be the standard. But dude, 4K is barely the standard right now. So they're really out here talking about 8K like it's a thing that people are actively desperate to get. I think that's kind of ridiculous guesswork and not really actually a thing that's happening personally.
Yeah, like Sonic Chief says, TCL is just trying to promote 8K. Yeah, gotta give a reason for people to buy their new TVs in a couple years, right?
Yes. I mean, they're kind of TV manufacturers. They have to come up with reasons to, sell you a new TV every year, much like, iPhones have to come up with a reason to sell you a new iPhone every year. And that's why, like, they keep, rebranded. They put out these crazy rebrands for things like, OLED and QLED and quantum dots and they put like these crazy rebrands with all these flashy stuff on for what is basically an iterative sort of upgrade that doesn't warrant the hype they're put behind it. It's because it's marketing, really. So I think for them to come out and say there's going to be a mid-gen refresh is just marketing. Pizza. Oh, Rand's ordering pizza in the middle of the podcast.
Indeed. Gotta think about after,
That's true. I want some pizza. That's not very fair that I don't get pizza.
I'm sorry, but when you were talking, I took the liberty to order some sausage pizza.
Sausage pizza? What's that?
You don't know what sausage pizza is?
No. What is sausage pizza? That's not a thing we have, I don't think. Do you mean salami?
No, not salami. Jeez, dude.
That's a type of sausage.
Do you not know what sausage is? Jeez.
I know what sausages are, but don't put it on pizza. That's just weird.
I'm sorry.
Is this like a Chicago thing?
No, this is like a pizza thing literally everywhere.
Nah, fake news, man.
Oh my god.
You know what goes on pizza?
What?
Pineapple. That one goes on pizza. Do you like pineapple on
pizza? See, people are making fun of you in chat, bro. They can't believe that you don't know what sausage pizza is.
There's sausage pizza. What the hell? What about baked bean pizza?
Yeah, that's what Darnell Hill says. Bean pizza.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Humdrunk says, who's responsible for third-party exclusives? Who's the person that chose Crossfire X over KOTOR? Complete clownery. Management really do suck at Xbox.
Don't even know if that's true.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second here, but yeah, I don't know. The thing is, my thing with the mid-gen refreshes is they worked last gen. They extended the generation. I think it helped having those because it reinvigorated the sales lines, the sales, curvature, right? Because you introduced the new products, people bought them. I still feel like they would still want to do that. Now, I guess like we talked about, they wouldn't add a native handheld because they don't want to have like a third SKU where it's like you got a dev for the Series X and the Series S. Oh, and the handheld. So I guess like the same thing would apply to like a Series X2, where you would have to dev for 3, right? Where Sony, you still only really got a dev for 2 because it's just the PS5 and the PS5 Pro, because the digital's the same thing. But then I think to myself, would Microsoft be giving up a major advantage if, let's just throw out a year, 2024 comes around, 2025, and Sony puts out a PS5 Pro? Because if we know how long you have to prep for these consoles, right? I believe, if I remember correctly, the Scorpio was like greenlit in 2014 for release in 2017, right? Like that's when they started talking about those machines and R&D in them and stuff. And Scarlet was started they take a long time to do everything. So if we are getting mid-gen refreshes in the next 3 to 4 years, they're probably talking about them right now, right? If realistically are happening. So I just wonder what would happen if PlayStation puts out a Pro model and Xbox just sits with their current 2 models. Would that affect a lot of things? Would that change a lot? I mean, does it even matter at that point if, the PlayStation is 15 teraflops and games are 4K 60? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there that point in that matters? I don't know.
I think if like Sony did it and Microsoft just didn't, I think that could put Sony in a weird position because, third parties would develop for the lowest common denominator, presumably. And, maybe it'd only be PlayStation first party games that did that stuff. I mean, Microsoft puts out loads of games that aren't really super duper photorealistic anyway, that are popular, like Sea of Thieves, for example. But I don't know. I don't think Microsoft will do it, personally. I could be wrong. It's just a prediction, not a leak. But I don't think they'll do it this gen. I think they'll stick with the Series X. I think they'll do a Series X Slim and a Xbox Series X Slim. Maybe. Maybe they upgrade the Series S, actually, to bring it up, upgrade it in a way that doesn't require devs to do any extra work. Maybe. I don't know. But I don't think they'll refresh both of them and do a Series S Pro and an X Pro. But I don't know, could be wrong. I think the next console from Microsoft is a handheld. Well, the streaming device, I guess.
Hey, we got
streaming console. Let's call it a streaming console.
We got breaking.
The next console from. Oh, sorry, go on.
We got breaking news.
Oh no.
EA and Respawn have officially announced Star Wars Jedi Survivor coming 2023. Is just a trailer they dropped at Star Wars Celebration Day 2.
Oh, is that Fallen Order sequel?
Yeah, that's the Fallen Order sequel.
Ooh. Interesting. I'll go and watch that after the show then.
Jeff Grubb leaked the name of that on his show a couple weeks ago.
So Jeff's right again?
Yeah, but people say he's always wrong though, so I don't know. So yeah, He also said the game would be revealed today, and he was right again. But I guess people just always say he's wrong. I don't know.
Jeff's a genius.
Yeah, I cannot wait for this game. I loved the first game. Love Jedi Fallen Order. So
I need to finish that. I'm going to put that at the top of my list because I'm on a Star Wars kick at the moment.
Yeah, so the trailer's on Twitter right now. You guys can check it out. It's 2023 is going to be a great year for games. That's what it seems like. It seems like everything's coming out next year. Third party wise, first party. Which is great.
That's true.
Question mark says, have to go now. We'll listen later. Thank you for being here, buddy. Hope you have a great rest of the day. I know I will, because after this podcast, I'm going to have some sausage pizza.
With pineapple, right?
From Palermo's. Oh my God. Palermo's makes the best pizza, bro. Like, if you ever come...
Is it like a deep dish?
I don't like deep dish, okay?
Oh, we talked about this.
I really don't like deep dish. But if you come down to where I live, southern suburbs of Chicago, you need to get Palermo's Pizza, bro. It is the best piece of pizza out there. I know, like, Cognito and all the dudes from New York talk about New York style pizza and stuff like that, which, don't get me wrong, New York style pizza is pretty good. But they got nothing on Palermo's Pizza, bro. Nothing. At all.
What's New York style pizza exactly?
New York style pizza is like the big slice. You can like fold it onto it, like on top, like you could fold it like on itself and eat it. You know, it's the big greasy slice of pizza.
I think that's just what the rest of the world has, right?
That's well, then
that's when I think of pizza as in what I buy from a British pizza place. That's kind of it. No?
Deep Chicago, you know, then Chicago's deep dish, and there's like Detroit style and stuff. But yeah, if you ever come to Southside Chicago, get Palermo's Pizza. You won't regret it because it's like or Lou Malnati's. Get Lou Malnati's. Like just the best pizza out there, bar none.
One day.
Let's see. Faulty Radical says, love the show. Thanks for providing a space for discussion. No need to read out. Well, we got to read it out because you're supporting the show with the super chat. So thank you so much for being here and supporting the show. Space Dovakin, who's been a member for 14 months, says, best Xbox podcast around. Love you guys. Jedi Survivor Fire. Yes, I am very, very excited. I think that's going to be my most anticipated game for 2023. I can't really think... Well, if Hellblade 2's next year, that's pretty close. But, man, I did love Jedi Fallen Order. Well, Starfield's next year, too. Starfield was my number 2 for this year. I actually am looking forward to Jedi Fallen Order. I got to stop calling it Jedi Fallen Order. Jedi... What's it called? Jedi Survivor. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I think
Jedi Survivor sounds like a battle royale.
It does sound like a battle royale. I think I'm gonna put in my anticipation list. Jedi Survivor is higher than Starfield.
That's high praise, man.
That's just the way it is.
I got pretty far in Fallen Order, and I didn't think it was that great.
Mm-hmm. Gray Fox
but
wants.
You know what bugs me about that game?
What bugs you?
You can't cut people's arms off.
Mm.
You're telling me I got a lightsaber and I can't cut this guy's arm off?
Well, you can do. I think you can cut the robots up, can't you? You can't cut stormtroopers up.
Why can't I cut stormtroopers?
You know how it is, bro. Come on.
I think it's ridiculous, man. They put that stuff literally in the TV show. Like I was watching, if you watch like the movies, people get all kinds of limbs cut off. Darth Maul gets cut in half, man. There's a 20-year-old spoiler for you. But, like, man, why can't I cut people's limbs off in Jedi Fallen Order?
You just can't do it, okay? You just can't.
I'm sad.
Gray Fox says, Rand, do you think Final Fantasy VII Remake will be announced for Xbox? Greetings from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Love the show. So, yeah, that's another topic that's been floating around, and we've mentioned this many times over the course of the last 2 years, because Final Fantasy Remake always gets brought up. And, I think it's now or never, Jez. I think if it doesn't show up this year, if it's not at the showcase, it's never coming.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's coming.
You don't think it's coming, period?
I don't think it's coming, and I don't think it's ever coming.
Which means then Remake 2 is never coming, and Remake 3 is never coming. Because I think there's 2 more. I tend to agree. Like, my initial thing is, like, I'm going to go into the showcase not expecting it to be there. I mean, I already own it on the PlayStation 5, so it's like, whatever. I can play it there whenever I want to. But, of course, you know me. I'd rather play everything on Xbox. It's just the way it is. If it doesn't show up there this year, it's never going to show up. So I would go in there with the expectations it's not going to be there. But if it is there, then we can all celebrate. So... I mean, I guess maybe that could be in a big announcement for Xbox. Or see, the thing with Xbox and the fans is that sometimes I feel that what Xbox thinks is a big announcement is different than what the fans think are big announcements. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, I think if Xbox somehow worked out a deal with Square Enix to get Final Fantasy VII Remake to come to the platform and be on Game Pass, Xbox would think that is a big deal. But I think most fans would be like, it's a 2-year-old port. It's not that big of a deal. Do you feel
I don't
like that
know,
at all? Like
man.
that, like you know what I'm saying?
Sometimes, but I think you underestimate the brand power of Final Fantasy.
No, do I?
I think I think Final Fantasy is like still a big brand, and I think there's a lot of salt that the game never hit actually. But I could be wrong. Maybe you're right. Maybe it isn't a big deal. I personally don't think it's a big deal. But I completed it. I reviewed it actually on PlayStation. It's the only PlayStation game I've ever reviewed in my life, actually, thinking about it. But I honestly don't care if it does come to Xbox because it's not good. Well, that's a lie. Like the game's amazing, actually. The graphics are great. The combat's great. I'm just still salty about the ending.
Still salty, huh?
I'm still salty about the ending. Yeah, it's like I can't. I was like, man, I gave it 9 out of 10, I think, but like, it left such a sour taste. I don't know. I don't know.
All right, let's talk about. I saw someone in chat really wanted to talk about this, and good on Pong Soul for timing him out because it was just spamming. But Xbox passed on Marvel, bro.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the rumor.
Well, it's not really a rumor. Let me set this up. So.
Oh yeah, Marvel's real.
Yeah.
Mixed
So
up with KOTOR.
in an excerpt from Stephen L. Kent's 2021 book, The Ultimate History of Video Games, Volume 2. Executive Vice President and Head of Marvel Games, Jay Ong, explains how the company cut its earlier deal with Activision short in search of a better partnership. Marvel wasn't happy with the quality of the Spider-Man games being published by Activision, and the two companies mutually agreed to terminate their licensing deal early. So, basically, Ong said that Marvel Games went to both Xbox and PlayStation to see if either of them would be interested in forming an exclusive partnership, asking them, quote, "We don't have any big console deals with anyone right now. What would you like to do?" And Microsoft's strategy, Ong recalls, was to focus on its own IP, and as such, it decided to pass on the offer. Sony, however, was more receptive. Quote, "I sat down with these two execs from PlayStation third party, Adam Boyes and John Drake, in August of 2014 in a conference room in Burbank, and I believe both those guys no longer work at PlayStation. I think John Drake is actually head of Disney licensing for the video game stuff, and I think Adam Boyes runs Iron Galaxy now. Yeah, so basically, yeah, quote, "I said, we have a dream that this is possible, that we could beat Arkham and have one game at least, and maybe multiple games that could drive adoption for your platform." Sony reportedly responded by offering to make a AAA PlayStation exclusive Spider-Man game and handed the project to Insomniac, which was independent at the time, but was considered one of Sony's most important partners. And obviously, the rest is history. Spider-Man went on to be like the best-selling Sony game ever, and then they did Miles Morales 2, and now they're doing Spider-Man 2. It's coming out next year, and this, and presumably, Wolverine's kind of maybe part of this whole thing, and this whole thing has led to the constant talk of how Xbox needs its own superhero game. So, now that we know Xbox was presented with the offer, and Xbox said, no thanks, was that a good move in hindsight?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, man, people are going to hate you in chat for this.
Well, the thing, I tweeted this out. Someone said, like, I quote tweeted something like, "There's a timeline exists where Microsoft landed Spider-Man IP," and I was like, "Yeah, a bad timeline." A lot of people took that like a criticism of Insomniac and Spider-Man, but it wasn't. I was criticizing Microsoft because I don't think Microsoft in 2014 could have executed the kind of quality that an IP that beloved demands.
And you know what? I 100% agree with you.
Yeah. Exactly. You're right. You're right to agree with me because I'm a genius. But for real, it's like, it's a poison pill. I think if Microsoft had accepted the poison pill and accepted making a Spider-Man game, they would have just Activisioned it, and it would have been Crackdown-y in quality. Like, it's great to sort of imagine what could have been, what should have been, whatever. But honestly, this is the best timeline. The best timeline resulted in the better game. And I think Sony was in a position to execute that a lot better than 2014 Microsoft would have done. I wouldn't have trusted Microsoft with that IP in 2014, frankly. You know, and I don't want to sound harsh or whatever, but like, I don't care about Spider-Man. I think all superheroes are just really lame. I think it's, I don't know. I just don't. I never found it compelling. I've tried to get into Marvel. I just cringe through the whole movie. You know, I like Batman specifically, but even when they try and mix Batman with other universes, it gets really weird and cringy again. But I don't know. I'm not a superhero guy. So yeah. I'm speaking analytically, not sort of like this is what I think or whatever. So I'm on behalf of fans of Spider-Man, you wouldn't have wanted Microsoft in 2014 to make that game, I don't think. But yeah,
so
that's just my perspective.
I agree. I tend to agree with you. I don't think the Microsoft of 2014 coming off of, Don Matrick being in charge and then leaving or getting fired, Phil coming in, Terry Myerson still running the division, cutting funding and all that stuff. I could see why Microsoft was like, yeah, no. We're not signing up. We don't, who are we going to have to make it? We have 5 studios, right? Like, Coalition was basically about to put out Gears 4, right? I mean, Turn 10's only making Forza. 343 is making, at the time, would be Halo 5. Mojang's doing Minecraft. It's like, who would they have make it? And I guess people would say, well, Insomniac, because they work with them on Sunset Overdrive. But I don't know. I get the sense that I don't think Microsoft wanted. I just don't think Insomniac wanted to work with Microsoft again after that game.
I think it would have been like, if you're Microsoft, right, and you're thinking, okay, Spider-Man's like one of the most beloved superhero IP, whatever, like an American icon. If you're Microsoft, do you accept that IP knowing that you might not be able to deliver on expectations in that present moment? I would say it would result in bad PR. If Microsoft had taken the Spider-Man IP and then screwed it up, that would have been a bigger scandal than them screwing up Crackdown, because no one cares about Crackdown. Sorry.
Well, so yeah, no, I agree with you. And I would say this, though. I say it makes sense for Microsoft in 2014, but I think if Marvel came to them in 2022 and said, do you want to work with get your own exclusive game from us? I think they'd be fools to turn it down.
Who
it doesn't matter. They got all the studios in the world. They got all these, partners they're working with.
No.
You see, this is where I'm going to disagree with you. Okay, because I feel 2014 Microsoft wouldn't be they just wouldn't be able to do it, right? They wouldn't have the skill set to actually find a team, have them make a AAA. Like, 2014 Microsoft's in a bad place. 2022 Microsoft's in a different place. And I've talked to you about this before, about how the idea of, like, how do you grow Game Pass? Like, we've talked about how, like, yeah, indie games are great, but I don't think indie games grow Game Pass. What grows Game Pass are the big AAA games, which is why Microsoft has all these studios so they can pump all these games into the service. But I think what really also grows Game Pass is games that reach a broad demographic, and stuff like Batman and stuff like Wonder Woman and stuff like Spider-Man, I think would grow Game Pass more than any of the collections of Compulsion's new game or Obsidian's new game or like Arcane's new game or Machine. Well, Indiana Jones actually could grow it because that's a known property. Like, when you're presented with something that big, I think you do take the opportunity in it. Even if you end up with something like the Avengers, right? Like you could see exactly what Square were thinking with Avengers. You have the hottest property in the world. How could this go wrong? Right? And after that game failed, Square Enix is like, yeah, we just had the wrong team make the game. When they basically threw them under the bus because they were trying to get rid of them and sell them. Which exactly probably would have went wrong with Xbox in 2014 if they tried to find someone to make Spider-Man. They probably wouldn't have given it the budget it deserved, and they probably would have found somebody that wasn't right for it, and the game wouldn't have been any good. But I think like in 2022, why couldn't you have, the initiative make it? Or just or any of these anybody else, like I'm trying to think of the studios they have. But I think that would be a mistake in 2022. And I know Phil doesn't like licensing, so that's also a thing, but I'm not surprised they passed at it in 2014.
It wouldn't have made any sense. People just they see Spider-Man and they see the whole narrative and they see the console war and they just sort of like put up blinkers or whatever. But it's when you sit there and think about it, it's like 2014 Microsoft with Spider-Man IP. They wouldn't have known what to do with it.
Sure. But 2022 Xbox, 2025 Xbox with a let's see, an X-Men as a Game Pass exclusive, bigger than it would be bigger than if the game was good. If the game was good, it would be bigger than Gears. It would be bigger. It would be bigger than literally any one of the studios they're making any one of their games. State of Decay 3, because the name is what's going to bring people to Game Pass. That's what Game Pass misses is that experience, that title that just goes beyond the hardcore gamers and actually goes into the casual realm. That's why Spider-Man is so big for PlayStation.
Has to be good though.
Well, okay, and I did qualify that by saying it has to be good. It has to be good. But like when you look at 2023, without even knowing when any other game is coming out for PlayStation, I can already tell you that Spider-Man 2 is going to be the best-selling game they have, and it's going to sell millions upon millions of PlayStations. And if you had something like that on Xbox's side, not only would it sell millions and millions of Xbox consoles, but it would push millions and millions of new subscriptions for Game Pass, more than any other thing that Xbox could make. So I agree with you. We agree on the 2014 Xbox passing it up, but like I think they would be fools to pass it up if they were offered it this now, which probably aren't, because I'm sure Marvel's probably happy with their relationship with Sony.
The thing is, Microsoft doesn't have in-house a team that can make photorealistic Ubisoft-style open-world games, at all. So, like, I think a lot of these superhero games, they're kind of expected to be sandbox games, really, nowadays, I would say. And Microsoft just doesn't have a studio set up to make that. Like, even like Halo Infinite's open world it leaves a lot to be desired. Let's be honest. Being completely honest, it's not the best sandbox I've ever experienced in my life. So I almost feel like even now, I don't think they're equipped to deal with one of those IP and do it real justice. Xbox games often need some kind of unique hook that sort of circumvents the brute force of a massive budget. And maybe that'll change with the next wave of games that come out. But I just don't think they could make a game on the same keel as Spider-Man with the studios they have today.
Beanox used to actually work on the Spider-Man games for Activision. Xbox owns them now, or will own them. But yeah, fair enough. I guess we just have to disagree on that. I think they'd be.
Who would make it?
I don't know. Somebody would, because somebody would.
You gotta
get the coalition off of Gears. Put them on Spider-Man. If Spider-Man would do whatever, it would do bigger than Gears ever could.
What game has Coalition made that makes you think they could make an agile?
I don't know what
parkour open world game.
I don't
Gears
know.
are slow and
People,
lumbering
people,
and
people.
linear.
What makes you think? What makes you think Playground can actually make an action RPG Fable when they've only worked
Nothing.
on racing games? You hire
Nothing.
the people that you need that have the experience making the product. It's the same thing that happened with Guerrilla. Everybody was like, "Oh, you only made first person shooters with Killzone," and everybody's like, "Well, now your next game's an open world RPG." Yeah, because they hired the
Yeah,
people with the
dude.
experience to make it. So are
But
you
dude,
saying that you
dude,
have?
dude, dude, do you build a team and hire a team to make someone else's IP? I don't think so.
No, I mean,
I don't think so. I don't think you build a team to build up someone else's IP. Personally,
I think you do if the IP is that big.
I think for him, the thing about game development is it's easy for people to sit there and be like, "Oh, this would be really like." I imagine this would be great. Like, and you can imagine like Coalition could make I don't know a Mandalorian game. Like that's one of the rumors right now. Coalition on a Mandalorian game. But like when you actually sit there and think about logistics and licensing and who's getting how much money and the cuts and the margins, and then you get into all the boring stuff no one wants to talk about. A lot of this stuff just doesn't line up sometimes. Like Phil's talked about like wanting to make they want to do something with Killer Instinct, but it's like who would make it? It doesn't line up, you know. It doesn't line up. There's nothing out there that kind of lines up, you know. There's no studio that could or even, you know, wants to do it right now. And it's I don't know.
Well,
Things just have to make sense. And I don't think like if Disney came to Microsoft and was like, yeah, make an X-Men game. Like, does Microsoft have a team that even wants to do that? Do they have a team of people that are even passionate about that IP? Would they need to hire tons of people in? Would the hiring then eat into the margins and, you know, get to a point where it was even profitable to make the game? You know, these are things you have to take into consideration where you have to just, you know, you sit there and just sort of, you know, think like, yeah, I really want this to happen. I think when you're licensing IP, it just becomes so complicated when from a business perspective. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. It's my opinion. A lot of people in chat are not happy with it. I know. I get it. Like people like superheroes. I don't.
well, okay.
So maybe that's
See,
affecting my judgment.
you've been very much the whole like when we've talked about this for years. You've been very much like no to licensing games, right? No to superhero stuff. I've always said if you're gonna grow Game Pass, what better than superhero games? Because like they're just the biggest things out there. It would bring eyes to Game Pass in a way that I think you need. Because, you know, I don't think Sniper Elite 5 is going to bring new eyes to Game Pass realistically. It might keep people subscribed, but I'm not sure people are subscribing for it. But I tell you what, you come out with an exclusive X-Men game or an exclusive, who would be a great, a Black Panther game or something. Man, and the game was good on the level of a Spider-Man. The only things that Xbox could do that would make that would be bigger than those is essentially Starfield, Elder Scrolls, Minecraft, Call of Duty. It would be like literally bigger than anything else. But, you know, that's just that. I mean, we're probably just like fantasizing at this point because also the other thing was the whole Marvel, the whole Star Wars stuff. Mr. Matty Plays made a video. He basically came out and said that he was told that Microsoft passed on making KOTOR an exclusive or a timed exclusive. And I guess I want to say because they wanted to focus on something else. I'm not surprised that Microsoft is passing on these things to focus on their own stuff. Because that was kind of an issue with the Xbox One. One of the reasons why they bought all these studios because like they relied too heavily on other studios they couldn't control and all that stuff. But this one really kind of, I think people understood the Marvel thing based on when it happened. And based on like the extenuating circumstances, like Matrix still in charge, Xbox One is, nobody wants it, right? Like Matrix leaves, Phil gets a new job, the budget's cut by Like, I think people understand at that point, like, oh yeah, well, I get it. But this one, I'm not so sure. Like, people are like, that's has heritage on Xbox, right? Like, KOTOR was an exclusive on the OG. So a lot of people are like, this is kind of screwed up. Like, how do you let this one slip and then let PlayStation get it? Once again, Star Wars, a massively huge known IP. You know, they did it with the PlayStation 4 when they had the marketing deals for, you know, Battlefront and Battlefront 2 and stuff. You know, they even made like a Darth Vader console. Like, people thought like those Star Wars games are only on PlayStation. So, I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think about this one?
I mean, I agree with you about your point that it would bring people in, you know. But it also has to make solid business sense. Like, how much money is Disney gonna ask for? You know, what's Disney's cut basically?
What was Disney's cut for Pirates of the Caribbean?
Probably a lot less than a full blown game would have been.
Probably.
But you know, it's. I mean, Microsoft does license things. Like, they do DLC packs though. You know, Minecraft has 1 million DLC packs. That you can get pretty much every brand and license IP you can imagine. There's a Minecraft thing for it. Like, they just announced another one recently that was like really random. Like, I was like, man, that's a strange licensing deal. But so it's not like they never do it. But I also think like Microsoft's expected to pay more, I think, than some of these other companies. Because they're so big and they're so rich, and Disney knows they are. So maybe they're like, yeah, you got to give us a bigger cut. But again, it's also like there's no guarantee that Asper Media will make a good KOTOR game. You know, I think like for KOTOR remake to be good, to be truly great, it's going to be like a lot of money. And a lot of investment and a lot of risk. And I think maybe Microsoft was like, yeah, you know.
I mean, is there really that much?
If it is even true, I'm not Mr. May, but
I'll just go with the hypothetical situation that's true. Is it really that much of an issue or a financial problem? I mean, it's not like all you would do is be buying a money hat, a 1-year exclusive or whatever it would be. It's not like it wouldn't even be like you're funding the game, really. Like, I don't think Sony funded the game. They just bought exclusivity, just like they did with Deathloop and they did with Ghostwire Tokyo, right? It's so I don't understand, like, how much does that cost? I don't know. Like, but then again, I guess like Aspire's doing it, and this is kind of their first big game, so maybe they were like, is this game going to be any good? But I don't know. People talk about Star Wars, and it's like, hey, that's a reason to get the PlayStation 5 when it's available. It's got Star Wars and it's got Spider-Man, you know? And Xbox doesn't have any, like, when you look at surface level, like, yeah, Starfield, I think Starfield's going to be massive, but, like, right now nobody knows about Starfield. Or at least it doesn't have that, instant name recognition that Star Wars and Marvel, you know, and Spider-Man do. It can have it in the future, but I don't know. It's just interesting stories that come out. I love to learn more about these things where, you know, because I remember reading that Xbox, I don't know if you remember this, Jez, but Xbox passed on Grand Theft Auto 3 originally. Do you remember that?
That's wild.
And then they went to PlayStation and it's like, hey, the PlayStation 2. But imagine if Xbox didn't pass on Grand Theft Auto 3, like these little things that come along and, you know, it's like, oh, we passed on this game and this went to be super huge and stuff. These things happen all the time. So Medicated Kid says in the super chat, I've been reading a couple of news articles last week or two where Mr. Jez Corden was quoted a couple times. Oh. Yeah, Jez does get quoted quite a bit. You know,
I do like it when I'm sourced for my original information and reporting. That's very nice.
I mean, Rand. Yes, I know. I always source you. I make videos.
Yeah, but some people don't.
That's true. Humdrum says Sony is building their own MCU, which is an issue for Xbox. He also says Indiana Jones could be it, but it's not exclusive. Well, we don't know if it's exclusive. It could be.
It isn't.
Well,
it isn't.
You don't think it is?
No, it isn't. I pretty much know it isn't.
You pretty much know it isn't.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you heard it here first, folks. Indiana Jones is not exclusive. Man, I wonder.
I've said that before.
Yeah, but you've waffled on this. You said at first it wasn't exclusive, and then you said it was, and now you're saying it's not. You go back and forth on these things sometimes, Jez. When new information.
I have never said Indiana Jones was exclusive. I'm pretty sure I've never said that. I never had any.
Fair enough.
The only information I've had about Indiana Jones was that it wasn't exclusive.
Okay, but
that was a long time ago. Maybe something's changed.
I do think an Indiana Jones game day one on Game Pass is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's gonna
even if it was also on PlayStation. Not obviously it was big of an exclusive, but I guess we'll find out. Do you think we find out more about Indiana Jones at the showcase?
I think so. I think Indiana Jones could be one of the games at the showcase, but I don't think it's exclusive. But things can change. It was a long time ago that I heard it wasn't exclusive, like a year ago. So if it has gone exclusive, it happened in the last year or so. But yeah.
I mean, we'll find out.
It's going to be in Game Pass. It's going to be day one in Game Pass.
Yeah.
Theoretically, at least.
Theoretically, I mean. Yeah, I mean, I think this is something they inherited from Bethesda. Like, the deal was already made, so maybe it's not exclusive. We'll find out eventually, for sure. Nightwolf says, Jez Rand, I'd love for Xbox to grab a superhero game too. Problem is, it's hard to pick the right hero. Traversal is key to those games. Spider-Man swings, Batman glides. With open world, it's hard. Yeah, it's true. You'd have to pick the right one. And they definitely picked the right one. Spider-Man by far is like, I think you look at it like Spider-Man's the biggest superhero in the world. So I mean, they definitely.
Bigger than Batman?
Yeah, way bigger than Batman. Like Batman's the biggest on the.
Than Batman?
Yeah, way bigger. Like Batman's the biggest on the DC side, but like. Yeah,
Batman's way cooler.
I think Spider-Man's bigger than the Avengers. So.
What?
RDX Son of Fett.
Who is the biggest superhero?
RDX Son of Fett says Infinite Campaign DLC reveal in June, Jez?
Oh, actually, you're wrong, Rand.
What?
It is Batman.
Batman is... If you're talking about revenue per year, it's definitely not Batman.
Well, I just Googled it. Well, Binged it. And it just says Batman at the top.
And what?
According to the website, top10s.com. I want to do some research on this now. Who is bigger between Batman and Spider-Man? People just comparing their powers. Man,
you got to find the right search terms. You got to find the right search terms. Come on. You know Google for you.
Superhero revenue. Oh man, this is just movies. Okay, highest grossing Superman films, Avengers. Okay.
Well, let's answer RDX question. He says, "Are we going to see the Infinite Campaign DLC reveal at the show?"
Infinite Campaign DLC. I'm not sure about that.
Do you think we see Halo at the show? Period.
I've heard conflicting things about Halo, so I don't want to put a stamp on that. I don't want to say Halo's definitely there or it's definitely not there because I don't know.
Interesting.
But I would hope so. My assumption would be that Tatanka would be there, but maybe it isn't.
Abdel Estrada says, "Hey, Rand and Jez, what you guys consider your favorite and least favorite Xbox first party studio? To me, my favorite is Bethesda Studios, and least fave is Tango." My favorite. My favorite would probably be like Arcane or Ninja Theory. My least favorite would probably be World's Edge because they're never going to make anything I want to play. Ever. Because
What if they made?
they're never going to make anything I ever want to play. They're probably never going to make anything that comes to consoles anyways.
What if they made a Barbie's Horse Adventures RTS? You play that?
And if it wasn't, it'd probably be Compulsion because I played their last 2 games and I didn't care for either of them. So they'd be at the Undead Labs is probably down in the bottom. I mean, like, so yeah. What would it be for you? Who's your favorite and who's your least favorite?
My favorite.
We know the Coalition.
Probably.
Oh no, wait. Does this include Activision? Because it would be Blizzard.
Well, they're not acquired yet.
Yeah, they're not acquired.
If they're acquired, it'd be Blizzard by a mile.
But they're not acquired, so.
But they're not acquired, so let's not.
Coalition.
No,
what?
I think it's Arcane as well.
Really? Okay.
It's Arcane. No, I think it's Arcane. Arcane's probably my favorite Microsoft dev of the lot. Coalition's probably second, but Arcane is probably the top. And Undead Labs is up there as well. I love State of Decay. Unapologetically so. My least favorite is Roundhouse because they haven't made anything.
Well, what about the one? Isn't Alpha Point just a mobile studio?
Well, at least they've made something.
Yeah, that's true. Mike says Microsoft is spending more than $70 billion on Activision Blizzard King. They really can't spend that money for the KOTOR rights, a game with significant meaning and nostalgia for OG Xbox gamers. Yeah, I know what you mean, bro. But just because they got the money doesn't mean they're going to spend it. You know, that was a lot of the conversation surrounding when Square Enix sold Tomb Raider and Crystal Dynamics and those other 2 studios to Embracer for $300 million. People were like, "What? That's pocket change for Microsoft." But like, Microsoft didn't get rich by just throwing money around like it's nothing, you know. So I get what you're saying, but if it's true, you know, apparently Microsoft thought it wasn't worth spending the money on it. So,
I mean, in the core community, a lot of us like have fond memories of KOTOR. Like, first time I played KOTOR, it was absolutely mind blowing. Like, it's one of my, it's up there with like Final Fantasy VII for like being mind blown by the game. But by today's standards, it's sort of like, I don't know, it hasn't aged very well, put it that way. Furthermore, it didn't sell that many copies, like, by modern standards. Nobody younger than a certain age even knows the game exists, honestly. So, while it's got a little nostalgia, I don't think it has the sort of pulling power that you might think it has. And I don't think spending a bunch of money for nostalgia of a subset of users is good business sense. Just to be harsh. But
hey, friend of the show,
it could be amazing. The remake could be amazing, you know, but you know, and we'll be sitting here podcasting like, yeah, Microsoft made another mistake, but right now I just kind of get it.
Jez,
you know,
you got to address this. Friend of the show, good buddy, the best bot, Kid Smooth, tweeted out, @HS Gordon confirms Indiana Jones is an exclusive, #Xbox 2.
Confirms what?
He tweeted out that you confirmed that Indiana Jones is an exclusive. And we know how, you know, we know how outlets love to run with what you say. So
yeah.
Are you confirming it's not exclusive, or are you speculating that it's not exclusive? Do you know it's not exclusive? I think we need to parse down the language on this one.
I knew it wasn't exclusive as of a year ago.
Okay.
But if something's changed more recently, I don't know.
So there's a possibility it could be exclusive. But at one point a year ago...
for me, it's a high possibility that it's still exclusive. Unless Microsoft somehow decided to spend a bunch of money and get out of that multi-platformness of it.
A year ago, you knew it wasn't exclusive when the deal was struck, when they acquired Bethesda. But it's been a while, and it very well could be exclusive. So we'll just have to wait and see.
That Stain song. It's been a while.
Yes, it's been a while. I love Stain. Whittier says, how much to get the Top Gun Maverick rights? I don't know. Didn't they just release some Top Gun Maverick stuff for Microsoft Flight Sim?
Yeah. they did.
Tom Cruise is saving cinema, bruh. Top Gun Maverick's gonna make a bunch of money this weekend.
Did cinema need saving?
I mean, people say it does. People say the only thing that makes money at cinema anymore is superhero movies. You know?
Ugh, that's so sad, considering how lame superhero movies are.
Mm.
That being said, I did really enjoy the Batman.
Batman was fantastic.
It was. I had some problems with it.
I mean, no film is perfect, so yeah, there's some issues.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Rabadon 202 says, "I'm with Jez. I'd rather Xbox make a great game called Captain Underpants, and he fights with underwear. Elden Ring, prove great games beats IPC, Horizon Forbidden West." So he says he just wants a great game, even if it was called Captain Underpants, and he fights with underwear.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, we make that point sometimes that, like, for example, you know, everyone says like Breath of the Wild's the greatest game ever made and all that stuff, and then I can't help but feel like if Breath of the Wild was identical but at a different brand, I think it'd be regarded as AA trash and no one would care. How's that for a take, baby? No? Am I wrong?
Slow-mo, my buddy Slow-mo, my
wow,
bridge.
Rand's offended.
No, I saw this and I want to talk about it. Answer it.
Okay.
My Bridge 4 brother, Slow-mo. You're not even my Bridge 4 brother, Jez. But Slow-mo is.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
That means he's read the Stormlight Archive and he's my brother. He's my Bridge 4 brother.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, you.
Oh, is that one of your books?
Yes, one of my books. Yes, my Stormlight Archive. He says, "Why?"
You actually like buy physical books on paper, don't you?
Yes, because I can't listen to him audiobook. I can't pay attention, and I don't know. Like I've never gotten into the Kindle thing. It just I can't. I lose concentration with Kindle. Like I feel like I'm reading an email, and I just don't want to read it anymore. Like I need the book in my hands, the smell of it. You know, you just put the book up to your you just take that deep breath and it smells, you know, it's whole part of the experience. He goes, "Why in 2022 would it not make sense for Xbox to do a Marvel game, but it made sense for Sony in 2014 when they didn't own Insomniac? Why couldn't Xbox Publishing hire a studio to do it?" Well, I think, you know, if it had been a couple years earlier, let's say if it was Xbox in 2011 as they were like ramping up from the 360 to the Xbox One gen, they probably would have had Insomniac do it or somebody else. But I think when you get to 2014 and you think of the trouble that was going on at Xbox at that time, with Matrick getting ousted, with Phil coming in as a new head, with the budget getting slashed by Meyerson, I think you're talking about like wrong place, wrong time. They probably didn't have the money to spend on it. Like, because you look at the games that were coming out in the recent years, they were all games that were essentially signed and, you know, have been worked on, you know, from before the gen started. So I think it was just this opportunity happened when Xbox was essentially going through a transition. Personally, my opinion. See what else we got here. We got RDX NFS and Indiana Jones game better than any superhero game. I mean, Machine Games is a great developer. I think it could be.
How about this?
Pretty
about
damn
this?
Awesome. What?
Machine Games totally nails Indiana Jones. They nail it. They nail it as hard as, I don't know, Arkham Asylum. Maybe Machine Games finishes Wolfenstein Saga off with 3, and then they become the sort of the company that can take these IPs and make them work in the video game context. Because I think that's part of the issue, is like translating established IP into video game form. It can be difficult, you know. You have to have a studio that is actually really super passionate about the DNA of what that game represents. And when you play Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, it's dripping with authenticity, you know? It's dripping with it. and the gameplay synergizes with the universe, and it comes together in a sort of glorious whole, and that's what needs to happen for these IPs. So maybe Machine Games absolutely nails it, and maybe they become Microsoft's IP wheelhouse. Maybe they become the studio where we're sitting there right now thinking like, who would make an X-Men game? Maybe Machine Games becomes that studio. Maybe this is where they sort of step out of their Wolfenstein sort of typecasting almost. They're sort of typecast as a Wolfenstein studio now. Maybe they'll emerge as the next big Star Wars studio or something. I don't know.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
ZFG Gaming.
We should make a Deadpool game. Lone Wolf says.
ZFG Gaming says, indeed, Rand. With how long it took for the deals to go through, i.e., complete, Xbox spent an F load of money. I think that's why Xbox turned down Marvel. Let's see what else we got here. Steady Flow says Spider-Man No Way Home brought in more money than the Batman, even when there was no COVID strand. I mean, people wanted to see the old Spider-Man in the new Spider-Man movie. Chinook Guy says Spider-Man pulls in the most revenue, Batman is the most popular, and Superman is the most recognized. So I guess that answers your question, Jez.
Interesting. Well, I was actually just gonna do a Google Trend search. So let's Spider-Man versus Batman. Who wins? Oh, guess who wins?
Who wins?
Batman by a mile.
In a fight?
By a mile on Google Trends. That's over the past 12 months. Okay, so that probably to do with the movie. But no, even if I look at Google Trends, interest over time from 2004, Batman wins. Oh, that's in the UK. Okay, let's set that to everywhere. Worldwide. Let's see who wins. Boom! It's still Batman. Still Batman. So Batman is the best. Google Trends proves it. Maybe should we search for some other superheroes? Who's another superhero?
I mean, how are you spelling Spider-Man? Doesn't it matter how you spell it?
I tried both. Tried both, Rand. I did Spider Dash Man. And I did.
What about Avengers?
Okay, Avengers. Let's search for Avengers.
Yosemite Blame says, can we do a charity donation drive to make the two of you finally play Breath of the Wild? It might be a slow fall, so now's the best time. I'm not against the idea of playing Breath of the Wild.
I'm against it.
Oh, you're against it? Okay.
I'm against it. Nah, I'm not against it. I mean, have they patched it so it runs higher than 20 FPS yet?
No, but I think you can play it on PC where it's 60 frames.
Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, like with an emulator or whatever.
That's illegal.
Humdrum says, Special Nick says Indiana Jones is exclusive. Bet who's right.
Yeah, I don't think Nick's right on that one.
Well,
but I guess we'll find out.
Well, you did say it was a year ago, and things could change in a year. So
yeah, it's true. Things could change, but
Giovanni Mercado with the super chat without a message. Thank you for the support. Yeah. So, man, it's passionate talk there about superheroes and Star
Batman's
Wars.
bigger than Avengers as well.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, Batman's my favorite, so as Joe Sinister says in chat, Batman plus prep time equals unbeatable. You're damn right. It's basically whoever the comic book writer wants to win, essentially.
What other superheroes are there? But yeah, more people search for Batman than search for any other superhero. Don't know why. Are the Batman comics just bigger or something?
Because Batman's the best, bro. Carlos says Disney plus Xbox partnership, Republic Commandos, Tron. Ooh, Republic Commandos would be great. I'd take a Tron game.
Ooh, let's do Star Wars.
Star Wars is probably trending high because of Obi-Wan and the Star Wars celebration and stuff, I would imagine.
Okay. Star Wars is bigger than Batman.
Okay.
That's
Star Wars is bigger than Batman.
Let's do Halo.
Okay.
Halo,
you know what? Let's take some questions while you're playing around with this. So thank you guys for being here. We're gonna take some questions, put them in chat. We'll get to them, answer as many as we can. If you guys enjoyed the show, before you leave, make sure you hit the like button, and this will be up on the podcast app ASAP. And if you're listening to this, whether it's on iTunes or Spotify, please, if you'd be so kind to leave a rating, 5-star review, 1-star review. Helps out the algorithms that run the world so more people can discover, as Slow-Mo says, Jez going for all-time bad takes in one podcast. We can keep on, more people can discover Jez's bad takes on this podcast. So,
Rand.
Yes.
Halo is bigger than Spider-Man.
Halo, huh?
Yeah, only slightly, but it is.
Well,
more searches for Halo than Spider-Man on Google.
I find that unrealistic. I find that wrong.
Spider-Man just lame. I think Spider-Man's just lame, bro.
I don't know. I mean, the Halo TV show's been going on. Now nothing Spider-Man's been going on. So
this is from 2000. This is from 2004. This is 2004 worldwide searches. Halo beat Spider-Man. Both spellings of the word.
I don't know. Our friend One Bad Mother in the super chat, thank you. He says, "Do you guys believe that turning down KOTOR was more strategic than just cost? Does it hurt optics buying big pubs if money having popular IP?" Well, Jez always says Phil's just a nice guy, right?
Yeah, Phil's a nice guy.
And typically,
that's the problem with Phil.
Xbox doesn't money hat third-party games. They might get a Game Pass deal or something, but they don't go to the extreme lengths PlayStation does, which some people have disagreed with. Some people be like, "Hey, you got to treat your consumers like the first-class citizens they are." And some people like the approach Sony does, where not only is Sony making, these great first-party exclusives, but they're also getting me the Deathloops of the world, the Final Fantasy VII remakes of the world on my platform where I play. Now, I guess you could say that's kind of unfair because Sony's really just paying to keep those games away from the other platform. They're not really involved in the making of the game. They're just paying for a product and being like, don't put it on Xbox. But that's how some people view that, especially a lot of the PlayStation guys, where they feel, because I've heard them say on podcasts and on Twitter, PlayStation makes me feel like a valued customer, like I'm number one, because they spent the money to get Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo and Street Fighter V and whatever else. Where Xbox has kind of shied away from that. I mean, Phil even talked about not even wanting to, he did that for Rise of the Tomb Raider, remember, in 2015, and never wanted to do it again, or never did it again, or they do these little deals for Game Pass or something. So I don't know if it's strategic. I don't know if it's the cost. I mean, I can't imagine it being strategic. I mean, what was it like? We only have the money for a KOTOR money hat, or this old IP we're bringing back, and if we do one, we can't do the other. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't like the game. Maybe they're just like, who's Aspire, and why do we want to give them money for? I don't know. Let's see.
It's probably a combination of factors, really. I don't know. But Rand, guess what gets more search terms than Star Wars?
What?
By a mile. By a million times more. Minecraft.
Well, I could see that, yeah.
But I guess that's people looking up recipes and shit like that. Oh man. I mean, it's not the most fair way to test the popularity of something, I guess.
So we got a question from Xiong Eppen. Says, what's more likely to happen at the showcase? A game we don't know about coming this year, or a game that's been announced? Or a game that's been announced will be shown and still no release date?
That's interesting.
What's more likely to happen?
Just generally?
This is an
game we don't know about.
So a game we don't know about coming this year, or a game that's already been announced shows up again but still doesn't have a release date?
I think both's gonna happen. To be honest, I mean, if you include games that I've leaked that aren't announced,
Yeah, like something
I
like
think
Project Belfry or the top Josh Sawyer game or something.
yeah, I think Belfry and Josh Sawyer's game could launch this year, and they haven't been announced. So technically, I'm gonna say that they count. Um, but I also think that we'll see games that have been announced that aren't launching this year and don't have a release date, and we'll get an update on their development. I foresee that. I think both will happen, personally. What do you think?
Yeah, I bet both happens. I could totally see a game that's already been announced coming out and being still not having a date or a year on it. GKN says, what new teams can Microsoft add to build their superhero expertise within their studios? I think High Moon, Rocksteady, Warner Brothers Montreal, Humanoid, That's No Moon, Avalanche. What do you think? I mean, I don't know if Xbox is going to build a studio specifically for superhero games.
No, I don't think that'll happen. I mean, this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, if they don't have a studio to make a superhero game, they'd have to build one. But why would they build one just to help promote Disney's IP? You have to remember, it's like it's supposed to be mutually beneficial, right? So why would Microsoft do that? To support Disney, basically, and market their IP, so they can go off and make movies and stuff and make a load of money that Microsoft's never going to see anything of. You know, like, it helps Disney out. So why would Microsoft invest a load of money when they can just make their own IP and make their own games that are great? You know, the video game industry does not need Disney's IP. You know, the only reason this is an issue is because Sony's doing it. If Sony wasn't doing it, no one would care. And for like decades, games based on existing IP were trash. You know, it was just sort of expected that if, like, you know, if it was a movie tie-in game, it was going to be trash. Like the Men in Black PlayStation game, trash. Superman 64, notoriously trash. You know, Batman games for years were generally pretty bad. You know, it was only since the advent of Rocksteady where things started to improve, and then, you know, we got to a point where studios would be a little bit more, I don't know, less inclined to corner cut. But we still see it. You know, like that Transformers game that Platinum made, absolutely garbage. And didn't they also make a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, or am I getting that mixed up with something else? I don't know.
Who made a Turtles game?
Wasn't it Platinum?
Yeah, Platinum made one, yeah.
Yeah, and it was bad, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so like it still happens where like IP gets licensed and then it doesn't get funded properly and it's just trash. So I don't know. I'm just skeptical of this whole superhero thing. And it's only become an issue since Spider-Man. No one cared until then. And it's like, because Sony has it, Xbox has to have it, but I don't think so. I would rather Microsoft makes their own IP, makes their own IP great. I don't care about that stuff, but maybe I'm in the minority.
Yeah, I think it's because you just don't care about that stuff. So you're just like, whatever.
Oh, do you care?
Do I care? Would I like a great superhero game or a great Star Wars game? Yes.
Does it?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, but does it matter if it's like, as long as it's a good, great game? Does it matter if it's got an IP attached to it? Oh yeah, and like
yes.
people are saying, did I actually play a Transformers game? Yeah, I was getting it mixed up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game.
Well, no, they did both. They did a Turtles game and they did a Transformers.
Yeah, but
game.
it was the Turtles game that was bad, not the Transformers game.
Well, some people would say the Transformers game was bad too. Transformers Devastation. Some people would say that was bad. Like High Moon did the two other like War for Cybertron. Fight for Cybertron?
Maybe I'm getting it mixed up. My point was that a lot of licensed games are bad.
Yes.
You know, so.
Yes. Humdrung says, Phil being a nice guy would never make Xbox competitive. At least on Matric got a Sunset, Titanfall, and Dead Rising 3. You know, the funny thing with that is, actually, Phil got those games. People forget Phil was in charge of that stuff. Don Matrick may have been head of Xbox, but Phil was in charge of that other stuff, and so Phil actually got you Sunset and Titanfall and Dead Rising.
Yeah. So maybe Phil needs to take over that stuff. What if we just cloned Phil?
Yeah. Let's see.
Clone him and have him run every part of the business. That'd be great.
We got a super chat from Hey Blinken. I've noticed a lot of people getting their hopes up on Modern Warfare 2 hitting Game Pass day one. I don't think it'll happen. Thoughts? I don't think it'll happen either. Pretty sure Sony has the marketing agreement for Modern Warfare 2. And usually those marketing agreements preclude those titles coming out in a competitor's subscription service. Usually for like a year. So, yeah, I would go. There's probably 0%. How could I say for sure? It's not like I've seen the contracts or whatever, but like I would say there's 0% chance of it happening. You know, like we already have seen that the beta's like exclusive for a week for PlayStation. That tells you PlayStation has the marketing rights. And that should tell you all you need to know. Like, if PlayStation's got the marketing rights, there's no way that game's launching in Game Pass on day one. And Jez would agree with me.
Yes, I would.
Arigato Sir says, people are already tweeting about Jez saying Indiana Jones isn't exclusive. Love the show. See, that's why I wanted you to make sure you clarify what you say, Jez, because I knew as soon as you said that, people were going to turn that into articles. And then YouTubers are going to make videos about that. And then what you said is going to be used as a reason why Phil doesn't know what he's doing and he's bad at his job and all that stuff. All because Indiana Jones may or may not be exclusive. Watch.
Oh, wasn't this game commissioned before they acquired Bethesda? So how is it Phil's fault?
I'm just saying, bro. Do you know how these things work? You know? How's it Phil's fault that Starfield and Redfall got delayed? It was his fault. You know, he's like the quarterback. You know, when your team's doing really good, you get all the praise. And when your team's really shitty, you get all the blame. You know, so just watch for all the articles. You're going to have to write your own article on Windows Central about this.
No, I'm not.
See, now the PlayStation fans are all clowning the Xbox fans because of you, Jez. So you've made Xbox fans' weekends a living nightmare now.
The game was literally commissioned before they bought Bethesda. So if any Xbox fan was expecting that to be exclusive, you only have yourselves to blame.
But Special Nick said it was exclusive, bro.
Well, blame Nick.
Well, maybe Nick's right this time.
Yeah, maybe he is. Maybe he's right, but I don't think he is.
Let's see what else we got here. Slow-Mo wants to know if we will see the Halo Infinite Certain Affinity Battle Royale at the showcase.
I want to believe yes, but maybe it's not ready yet. I remember I said before that it was targeting season 3, but
season 3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4. I think 3 was the optimistic one, but maybe it's more likely 4 because literally everything's delayed now. So if it's 4, probably not, but maybe because it's been leaked so prominently and Microsoft leaked it themselves through their own APIs, maybe they'll just be like, fuck it, let's just show it off and let people know it's coming. But
here's the thing. I think if Halo's at the show, they have to show it. Because I don't think showing up to the event and only showing off a trailer of co-op is going to cut it for people. But if you show up and you're like, co-op coming August, Forge coming September, and then in Season 4, 2023, Battle Royale joins Halo. I think that's something you could put together a trailer for. But there's a part of me that thinks, man, if you show up to that showcase and you're just like, hey guys, here's Halo content, what we got coming, oh, it's co-op, people are going to be like, really? I don't know, do you feel that way? I feel that way. I don't know. I guess it depends.
Sorry, I was...
Yeah, you weren't paying attention to me, I know. Just like I
I was
wasn't paying
distracted
attention to you
by
when I was
much
ordering my
pizza.
sausage pizza, which you've never had apparently because you have no idea what sausage on pizza is.
Nah, I just got an interesting
Oh,
and slightly relevant piece of information, which I'll tell
interesting.
you about after the show.
Oh, I get to know after the show? Oh, I love this. It's amazing. Uh,
Sorry.
beautiful, beautiful. Okay, Sonic Chief says, "Do you guys see a world where Microsoft just buys WB and that's how Xbox gets DC?" Like,
Well, that's the other possibility, right? So if one of the if we go back to me saying like who's gonna make this stuff? Who's gonna make this stuff? Microsoft just bought Warner Brothers and bought all the IP. That would solve everything. It would
mm,
solve everything. But at the same time, I'd rather just buy Activision because Blizzard better. Blizzard better,
Blizzard
right?
better, yeah. Only you would think
Blizzard
so.
better.
Um,
Humdrum, it's news.
I'm
It's not good or bad news.
I'm interested in finding out what it is. Let's see what else. Questions. We got Gamer by Choice has been a member for a staggering 30 months. Xbox does not want bad press of money handing a game. If they did see the media saying, look at bad Microsoft keeping games off other platforms. Yes, I think Phil is very aware of the whiplash they got when they announced the Rise of Tomb Raider exclusivity.
But I don't know. I feel like Sony's done it so much now that the gaming media would look like hypocrites if they criticized. Don't you think?
well, I
Don't you
mean,
think we're past that point now?
I don't know. We'll find out because what happens if Street Fighter 6 is exclusive to PlayStation and is at the showcase or at the state of play? Are people going to complain, or are they going to be like, well, it makes sense because the last one was exclusive? I mean, are people complaining that Final Fantasy 16 is exclusive? Or Forspoken? I mean, like,
Well, the media isn't.
Yes, I mean, they already haven't, so I don't, I don't think anybody's complain. I didn't see the media complain about KOTOR. I saw Xbox fans complaining, but I didn't see the media being like, how dare Sony do this? When's it coming to Xbox?
I think Microsoft just likes to own their own stuff, generally.
I also think a lot of people in the media play on PlayStation. So when Rise of the Tomb Raider came to Xbox, they were actually affected for a change. And they were like, what do you mean I can't play this game? Right? And they were furious, which is also why when Microsoft bought Bethesda, the media was quick to say, Microsoft
Monopoly.
needs Bethesda. They need to, Bethesda Xbox needs to put these games on PlayStation. They need it because the media. I mean, look at the reviews for a lot of games. It's almost all the reviews are always on PlayStation because that's where everybody in the media predominantly plays. So I think a lot of personal bias does seep into people's coloring their opinions about that stuff. So if like something like Street Fighter 6 exclusive or Final Fantasy 7 Remix exclusive, nobody in the media really talks bad about it because it's coming to their platform. So it doesn't affect them. Which is why when it's the shoes on the other foot, they start throwing a fit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if we do get into if Street Fighter is exclusive and Final Fantasy exclusive, and we just sort of even more and more games start going exclusive, I think Microsoft should just start doing it as well, and just feel like, well, this is the world we live in now. Microsoft can clearly afford to do that stuff, and they're let loads of games slip for what is probably like trivial amount of money to them is kind of irritating. But it's also like, because they have they're trying to build a streaming service, they want to sort of like wholly own the rights to some of this stuff. Whereas to Sony, all the streaming stuff's like secondary. But I don't know, it's just speculation. I want to believe that, they would do it under the right circumstances. But it's just sort of weird why they don't. I don't really buy it. maybe like a couple of years ago, where they were like, there was a backlash to Tomb Raider or whatever, right? But I think we're way past that point now because Sony's been doing it left, right, and center. So if people were like upset about that, then they look like hypocrites if they were publishing like the articles that were like the opposite opinion. But I don't know. I need
Sebastian
to like get some context on that probably.
Sebastian Cooper says, "Don't listen to Rand. It's already been proven that Sony doesn't have the marketing rights to the new Call of Duty this year. You can look it up." Damn.
Don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're wrong, buddy. And
Yeah, you were wrong. I think that's people are saying that because when Sony was speaking to investors or whatever, they had a chart showing all their upcoming thingies, and Call of Duty wasn't on it, as if that confirms that they didn't have the marketing rights. But they do have the marketing rights. So
that's not to say that once the deal closes, Microsoft potentially could try to buy them out of the marketing deal.
Yeah,
and change that, but I'm not sure that that's going to be able to happen by the end of this year, though.
Yeah, I think
Gold,
we're a little far away from that.
Yeah, Goldchill says, "Jedi Survivor, yo, let's go. Respawn for the win. 100%. That game's going to be absolutely incredible." Siki wants to know, when are you going to try Cyberpunk 2077? That's a good question. When am I going to do that? I mean, I have it still installed, so maybe I'll get to it at some point. Nelson wants to know, are you doing an E3 predictions show? I mean, I'll be definitely doing a video, probably beginning of June. And we'll probably have a prediction show on the 10th. Maybe we get some people, like we did last year when we had like Cognito and Tim Dog and Special Nick on, and we do one of those shows again. And then me and Jez might do like a show on Monday after the showcase. And then maybe have people on for the following Friday to talk about it like we did last year. Hopefully the show's good, because it would be it's always bad when it's like, oh man, the show's bad, and it's like, you just cross your fingers the show's amazing, right? What else we got here? Let's see. Logic Bomb says, a shoulder is success. Damn it. A shoulder is
so well.
success. I'm telling you, bro, like shrapnel, easy to say. Shoulder, sure. Susceptible. A shoulder is susceptible to shrapnel. I sound like someone who's just trying to speak for the first time.
A soldier's shoulder. Fuck, I fucked it up already. A soldier's shoulder is susceptible to shrapnel.
Yeah. Medicated Kid, hey Rand, have you considered a Discord channel? We have one for the Xbox 2, but I don't know, like I'm not really. Jez always says I gotta be more engaging on Twitter and social media, but I'm not really, like, my brain's just not wired like Jez's. I don't tweet much.
What you mean, you're not a massive narcissist?
Or that, yeah. So
I don't know. You should just tweet, man. Just tweet.
Yeah, but I don't know what to say, bro.
Make some videos.
Yeah, I know.
Make an OnlyFans. Post TikToks.
Ooh, OnlyFans? Make an OnlyFans and be like, make a Patreon and be like, we get to a certain amount camera time. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. Cover yourself in shrimp.
Ooh.
Or mayo.
Let's see here. I think that's it. That's all the stuff I see in chat, unless I'm skipped over something. I don't see anything else. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Jez?
I'm done. I need sleep. I'm a sleepy boy, but
Sebastian Cooper says Jeff Grubb is spreading a rumor around that Microsoft bought Mortal Kombat.
Jeff Grubb?
That's what Sebastian says, but I don't know.
Did he? Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, that would mean they also bought
see,
NetherRealm, but
I don't see Jeff saying that on Twitter, at least.
I do
Did he
think
say that on his show?
I don't know. Who knows? I do think the only studio that Microsoft would be interested in from Warner Brothers would be NetherRealm. That's it.
I think they should buy NetherRealm for sure.
They probably should, especially if you're gonna imagine if Street Fighter 6 is exclusive to PlayStation, you kiss the fighting game genre goodbye on your platform, but you can counterattack with exclusive Mortal Kombat 12, which is bigger than Street Fighter. Because I don't think Microsoft would care about. Like, I know Xbox fans would be like, "Oh, well, Rocksteady makes amazing games, and so does Monolith," but like, they would look at it like, yeah, we don't care about that. We just want Monolith. You're a Malice in the super chat says money. Thank you for the support, man. And I saw he posted in the Reset Era thread.
Oh, he said it on Iron Lord's podcast. Jeff Grubb did apparently about Mortal Kombat.
Oh,
that's awesome. Like, dude, I would be hyped as hell if they bought NetherRealm and Mortal Kombat. That would be a sick acquisition for me.
Yeah, I think it's the only one that, if you're looking from an individual studio from Warner Brothers, that's the only one that makes sense for Xbox. But then it's like, why would WB sell them? I mean, I know they wanted to cut down on debt, but
maybe Microsoft just makes them an offer they can't refuse. Or maybe Microsoft like sends Bill Gates over, and Bill Gates injects them with a brain implant through a syringe and controls their mind, and you know what I mean? No, right? Mind control implant. Elon Musk's making a mind control implant. You know.
Yeah. Well,
have you not seen that?
No, but I've seen this Tesla price stock drop.
And so that
stock price.
Tesla investors are suing him, aren't they?
And the Twitter deal's on hold.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I'm gonna try this one. I'm gonna try this one more time. A shoulder is suspect. A shoulder is suspect. A shoulder is suspect.
A soldier's shoulder is susceptible to shrapnel.
A soldier's shoulder. I can't say it, man. These words, these S's, bro. I can't do it.
What about Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers?
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers? Yeah. Anyways, I think that. What's so funny?
I don't know. It's just funny. I'm just a happy camper. I'm just loving life, rocking out, playing some Overwatch, talking to my peeps.
Yeah.
And hanging out with the awesome Xbox 2 community, who were very lovely today.
Very lovely.
Shout out to you guys.
And Randall Thor, the host of this podcast, and I can't speak. I'm literally string of words that I cannot say properly, and I'm trying to. I'm literally thinking about the word as I say it, and I still can't say it.
Soldier's shoulder is susceptible to shrapnel. Soldier's shoulder is the hard bit.
No, man, it's susceptible.
Susceptible?
I just can't do it, man. Successible?
Wow, you're making up new words every few seconds, man.
Yeah. I'll just avoid that word. Just gonna avoid it. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another episode. And just in case you guys wanted to buy anything from Manscaped, you can always use the code XB2 at the checkout. Yeah. You got anything to say before we're out of here, Jez?
Nope. Just keep it gaming and play some Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Good game.
Have a good weekend, guys. Later.
Take care, everybody.